Boy, this is exciting stuff. The first ever game played away from Australia for premiership points. Nick Riewoldt, what sort of performance can he conjure up tonight? Certainly needs to show his very best form if he's going to get St Kilda into the contest. There's the sub Brad Johnson was talking about. Lewis Jetta, very hard to win the medal when you're the sub unless there's an injury early
that's
on.
Right, there could be, but
you never know.
If the game is tight, look out for this man. With his leg speed in the last quarter and a half, could be the difference.
There's no kick for 3
That's why he's starting to sub.
All right, we're going to have a new team led by Dermot Brereton in the studio here to take you through the halftime break and the post-match wrap-up. But we've got a great commentary team over in Wellington ready to call all the action here. That'll be led by Anthony Hudson, alongside him Gerard Healy, Danny Frawley and Barry Hall. Just the players going through their last paces here. And even though the Swans will be very confident heading into this match, it's that feeling of being on international soil, of being in such a foreign environment.
It's exciting for the AFL.
It is, isn't it?
I think it's very exciting for us, and
it's exciting for the players.
Absolutely, they get to play in a different place and a different. It won't matter there who'll win. The grass is the same, the sky's the same, everything's the same. It's just a new area to go. And TV-wise, this is a breakthrough. Have 2 games on one day.
Wouldn't Saints fans love to see Justin Kaczynski just grab a couple of big early marks, kick a couple of goals?
What's going on there?
Gee, there's some choppers in the Mustago from Big Mummy. Boy.
He might have another job we don't know about.
Oh, he could be the sub.
He's wound back the clock. That's straight out of the 80s.
The St Kilda midfielders are going to have a field day with Mumford tonight.
That's off-putting.
Kieran Jack will be right in amongst it. I see Ted Richards gets the job on Nick Riewoldt. That's going to be a great battle as well. So they're just about set to go at Westpac Stadium in Wellington. That's a fierce look on Big Shane Mumford. He's really gone for a statement there. Reece Stanley getting physical with Mike Pike. Jared McVeigh's been such a key player for them for so long. He just produces. What about that man, the evergreen Jude Bolton? He just gets better with age. He's like a fine wine, isn't he?
He's fantastic. He just steps up week in, week out, performs at a high level for Sydney.
So many good matchups to think about, and on paper the matchups look good, but we just think Sydney are a much stronger side. Dan Hanbury doesn't take a backward step. He's going to get plenty of attention though. Clinton Jones is going to get the job there.
And that's Nick Smith on side.
Let's head over to the Westpac Stadium. We join Anthony Hudson and team for the first bounce.
The perfect occasion for a new adventure for our great game. Anzac Day, game number 2, and we are away on international soil, Sydney and St Kilda, with the honour here in Wellington. And the ball goes over the line and out of bounds. Gerard Healy and Danny Frawley. It's great to be here. A terrific atmosphere, a great 24 hours in the leader.
Yeah, it's been big around the town, Hutto. So much expectation. The crowd's been pretty healthy, a lot of turnout. Important for the game, but really important for St Kilda. They have got to kick-start their season.
Jack Stephen tried to do that, and that could be high. No, it's a throw in. It was already over the line.
It's great to be here, Huddy, and the Saints, 2 first gamers, Gerard. What an opportunity for those boys. Brody Murdoch and Josh Saunders, who's starting as a sub for the Saints.
Yeah, and plenty of pace, and it's that sort of pace that they need to inject into the side long term.
And there's Murdoch getting right into the thick of the action, was able to get it out to Stephen. Oh, a hurried snap. Armitage wasn't bad, but quickly shut down. Lee, good to see him in for his second game. And he very nearly was on the scoreboard. Well, a man who was a great at both these clubs is Barry Hall, and you must be excited to watch these 2 sides in action too.
Oh, look, it's fantastic down here, boys. The atmosphere is really good. It's really cold. It's 15 degrees. It's a little bit dewy. The grass has got a bit of length to it. The grass is in magnificent condition. A little bit dewy, so it's going to be a real wet weather game today.
10 millimetres of rain this morning, so as Barry said, the outfield is a little bit damp. But we've all been taken here by the stadium and just how good it looks, Gerard.
Yeah, great possibilities down the track. This is a purpose-built AFL ground, it seems, Hutto. But right now the Saints are dominating possession. That one not great execution. The Swans have had just 1 kick, and that was from full back. And, well, Malcheski will get them into attack. It seems that the right act spud has been read at both clubs. One from St Kilda, they've made some serious changes at selection, and a message there to a number of players. But also, I think Sydney, time to get serious, boys.
Yeah, well, last week they only had 50 tackles, Gerard. Sydney Swans, their lowest tackle count since round 19, 2010. They were ranked 1 in the competition last year.
Goods up into the middle, which is interesting. Ryan O'Keefe starting as a deep forward. You'd expect that they will interchange.
Plenty of tight stuff there, as you would expect, and the ball over the line from the Armitage clearance.
There's Tom Lee there. The first round draft pick for St Kilda this year, recruited from the Waffle.
Ted Richards running with Nick Riewoldt.
Mumford in front. McAvoy over the top. Jack and McVeigh. Nick Smith is close to the line, and that is where it's headed.
And Grundy on Cozzy, who makes a welcome return to the team. He'll no doubt be the secondary ruckman, but he's got to pluck some and kick some goals.
He's got to create some goals. Create 4 or 5 goals, big Cozzy.
Has had a great track record against the Swans.
Geary had a bit of a run at it and gets another chance now, but Kennedy, who was pretty well quelled last week, gets another opportunity. We talked about the ground. It's a similar length to the SCG, Gerard, but a bit tighter.
Yeah, 7 metres on either side, skinnier if you like, but that's the same as most grounds. Hutto, the SCG is almost a circle.
Riewoldt with a big tap out, and it could be run to effect. Jones gets buffeted out of it, and it's over again. So hasn't gone too far so far.
No, it hasn't. Jared, it's interesting, the matchups. Nick Riewoldt and Grundy played on Riewoldt last time, and Teddy Richards did a very good job on Cozzy, kept them both goalless.
Yep.
So they've gone the other way around, John Longmire with the 2 Saints spearheads.
Well, the ball very much up for grabs, and the crowd hasn't really seen too much of our game yet open up. Now an opportunity. Goods, and you can hear the crowd start to get involved. And this is how the Swans like to play their footy. They don't quite like it like that, though. Fisher.
It's very interesting how Sydney have set up their forward line. They've gone very, very tall. They've got Pike, they've got Reid, they've thrown Ryan O'Keefe, if you've seen down there. They've got Andreas Everett, so very tall for the conditions.
Well, that's obviously testing St Kilda's height in defence. And Murdoch gets his opportunity here with his first kick in AFL footy. And he's got plenty on it, too. Oh, it's
great long kick.
Cozzy.
Well, that was a magnificent long kick. And that's what we need from big Cozzy, Jared. You talked about it. He just needs to create some goals. The best way to create them is take big, strong pack marks.
He's fighting for his future right now, Spud. He wouldn't have believed at some stage 10 years ago when he started in the game. If you had said you'll be fighting for your career, your life will be on the line as a player in Wellington, New Zealand.
Yeah,
but that's the facts.
Great opportunity on the world stage.
Well, there'd be plenty going through his head right now. He knows he has to kick it, and he got the thought processes right. It's a goal. Great start for the Saints, and Brodie Murdoch involved in that setup too. And let's hear what the coach had to say about him.
Brodie, where are you? You know why I chose you? Because I watched you last week. I watched you in the contest, and you've got a ferocity about you, kid, that I love. All right? First game, 100th game, I don't care. Birth certificate is irrelevant.
Fantastic insight. Scott Waters in the rooms talking to Brodie Saunders.
And I spoke to him before the game, Hutto, the coach, and he said that he had to have integrity at selection. Bottom line, if you're playing well in the seconds, if there's some holes in the senior team, reputations count for nothing, you'll get a Guernsey, and I think he's been rewarded already.
Oh, it's a fair message, isn't it? With the number of young players. So this is a really good start here for the Saints. Hayes to centre half forward. And it was a careful kick. Mark taken by Dennis Lane. He'll be really
good lead, Riewoldt.
Urgent, wanting to impress against his old side.
Geez, they're hard at it at the moment, the Saints. Well, they are right at it.
Well, they're dominating the game because they've been inside forward 55 times now, and Sydney yet to enter their forward 50.
McVeigh, it's a real struggle, hand-to-hand combat in there. Ross was able to get it out. And another youngster who's impressed in recent weeks too, Nathan Wright. A bit quieter last week, but the week before he was good.
He was excellent, yeah.
And the ball goes over the line and out of bounds. It's all pretty much been played at St Kilda's end at the moment, Jared.
Yeah, they've been most impressive, just winning every ball, every contested ball they're winning, and that was the formula for Scott Waters. It's something they've been really poor in. And the pressure is getting to the Swans right now, and it ends up in errant kicks from defence, just blind shots out of the dangerous area, and it comes up with a pretty fair shot, a shot that he should get, young Seb Ross.
Yeah, he is going for his first goal in AFL footy, just his third game. One last year, one this year. And a very gettable goal, and it's through. And the Saints with a dream start in Wellington.
Well, it hasn't been overly scientific at this stage. They're only running at 43% efficiency, the Saints, but what they're doing is they're getting more numbers around the ball. They're winning contested ball. They're putting pressure on the Swans. Look at this, it's just ferocity. And there's some danger signs here from Sydney. They're really interesting games, these ones. You go to a foreign city, You sit around for 15 hours, 10 hours today, and sometimes you can just lose your focus, but not the Saints.
So Seb Ross, what a wonderful feeling for him. He's now a goal kicker in AFL footy. Justin Kosicki has the honour of the first goal on international soil in a match for premiership points. And Seb Ross the second, and the Saints have done all the attacking so far. Just throwing some doubts in the minds of the Swans. In some ways, they've only played one really good quarter this year, Sydney. So there'll be some concerns. Kennedy attracted a crowd and some good tackling from Hayes. Armitage couldn't quite get it out of there. Now an opportunity from Kieran Jack to half forward, but Gilbert and Robertson quick to shut that down.
Well, they set up the extra in defence, and Robertson was onto it. And they are just looking so much sharper than Sydney at the present time, Spud.
Well, they're winning all the contested ball, Jerome, 11-6. They're winning the tackles 9-4. So all the key indicators, they're winning the clearances, and of course the inside 50s 5-0. Saints favour.
All the concerns for John Longmire and the Swans yet to have an inside 50. But what's going on here? There's a free kick going to the Swans. I reckon it might have been an interchange.
I think it was.
I reckon Cozzy went off. I reckon he was already off. I'm just guessing. It's a fairly short 50, just quietly. So it'll be Kennedy with a real bonus that St Kilda didn't need, but Sydney would certainly welcome it at this stage. It was well quelled last week, Josh Kennedy, but he's coming in. We know what a player he is, and like just about all those Swans midfielders, he's a goal-kicking midfielder.
And that's been their great strength this year. It is the midfield kicking goals, and there is the issue.
I don't think Cozzy ever came off properly through, maybe. That's because the ball went out of bounds.
He was competing with the mark and then walked off. You're right, Hutto, that's where it was. That's a settler for Sydney, though, isn't it? It was against the flow. They'll be pretty disappointed, the Saints, because they've dominated the game so far.
So if it is Justin Kosicki, he'll be a little disgruntled about that. It's cost them a goal.
Adam Goods has gone to full forward. Ryan O'Keefe you'll find somewhere in the middle.
Stephen in the long sleeves coming off the wing and getting him off a couple of times. Back to Robertson. High ball. Certainly suited Smith more than Saad. Jones. Looks like he's running with Jack so far. Stephen goes and goes again. Opportunity for Saad. Going one way, Tom Lee the other. Grundy. Reeva was a present to the top of the square. Nice little engagement by Dennis Lane, but he didn't count on big Mike Pike getting back there. O'Keefe for Hanbury.
Brilliant from O'Keefe. If he had taken the ball, he would have been pinged. Just flicked it up with a punch. Just a one-handed punch.
Adam Goods and Hanbury powers on. Gets into the action. McGlynn. Saints have got an extra couple back in the 50, so that's what McGlynn's seeing now. Spies something he likes. It's Reed on the move, but it wasn't well directed. Gilbert.
Now they're getting back in numbers beautifully, the Saints, to support each other at the moment.
Doing most things right. Tanya blasting away to the wing. Lee and Grundy did as well as he could have there, Lee. It allows Parker, though.
Oh, that's smart play from Parker. Ran to the front of the pack, picked it up, came inside, and this bloke continues to impress.
Long to Reed.
One of two inclusions, Craig Bird. Now Reed, Gilbert pushed it at just the right moment.
Well, that was a magnificent play. I thought that was a real strong kick from Sydney, but great strength there from Sammy Gilbert. Big job for him playing on Sam Reed.
It is, but you'd expect him to run off and be a launch player from that half-back line. And that's something the Swans are missing at this stage with their two half-backs not playing.
Another contested mark for St Kilda.
Yeah, covering plenty of territory as we know that he does. Kick to the wing again, and almost the mark to Murdoch. He looks a nice size for a young man on debut. Of course, his brother plays for the Cats, Jordan Murdoch.
I'm for getting in down below and getting the ball out. A few question marks about when he's going to reach his top again. Poor handball from the Swans.
No good from Everett, was it? Hanbury goes in to try and retrieve the situation, but can't. What's the umpire? He's not going to make a call on this one. That's a bounce. Crowd really starting to get involved now in this contest. It's going to be a grind. The conditions are going to ensure that, and these two sides are going to be hard at it. Stephen. Hanbury got them out of a tight space. Gilbert and Reid again.
It was disappointing last contest by Reid. I reckon we know he can jump at it, we know he can catch it, we know he's a good lead, but one-on-one, he's got to bring that ball to ground at minimum. To be outmarked by Gilbert in the goal square is just not acceptable.
Big challenge for young Wright, picking up Jude Bolton, who has been pretty dangerous in that forward line, but he hasn't minded giving some responsibility to young players here today, Scott Waters.
No, I like it. I like the fact that St Kilda are going for the really young team, a fresh team, and Scotty Waters is throwing the challenge out to his youngsters, because they are the future for the Saints.
What a great look, Jared.
Well, it's a look that his ruck coach used to wear back in the days, the 70s.
Stephen Talbot.
Old Torbo. Well, he is old now. But he's been really keen for Shane Mumford to get back to his best. He's been just going in the first couple of rounds, and he really does equate to one of the significant bonuses the Swans have picked up in the draft.
Del Santo calls on Dempster, who likewise needs Revolt to pull something out of the hat, because there was all Swans there. It wasn't all that well designed, that whole piece of play. Hanbury, Rampy, Reid,
sloppy skills
Richards.
at the moment for Sydney. When it's tough conditions, but at the moment the Saints are handling it better. They just looked a little bit more switched on. Now we know the Swans have got more ability, but if they don't lift, they will find themselves in a real tug of war.
And head down, bottom up stuff for the Saints at the moment. Good blue collar approach they've got, which Seb Ross cleared it to the wing. Richards, pivotal battle obviously with Richards and Revolt tonight. Grundy, Nick Smith, Swans start to open things up with a switch. Ahead, O'Keefe powering up to look and lead here and try and give him a couple of options, Rampy inside or down the line. Goes longer than O'Keefe though. He goes for Mumford. At the back, Fisher.
Good running from Geary.
They mop up. Geary.
He's on Ryan O'Keefe. He pushed up the ground and covered O'Keefe, and then when the ball went over his head, he got back the quickest.
Saints with a Maori-inspired special Guernsey for tonight's game. Done a great job with that. Now Jack, Stephen.
In fact, we're down a couple of thousand supporters because there weren't simply enough planes for people from Melbourne and Sydney to get here.
Grundy, maybe was a little over-ambitious with the kick. He had a shorter option, didn't take it. Stanley and Goods, some athleticism between those two. Kick to half forward. Grundy hard at it, straight ahead. Nick Smith, and the backup is Matno, who's having a bit of trouble hanging onto the soap at the moment. Nick Smith. Oh, he also has trouble getting it onto the boot in any sort of straight fashion.
The ball's really slippy. Have a look at the kicking effectiveness of both teams. Sydney are going to 38% by foot, and Sydney going to 42%.
O'Keefe. Mumford.
I think we're going to see a bit of this. The Swans have got the tools. They'll bang it in and just hope to win it at ground level. But so far, the Saints are doing the job.
Well done. Robert out-muscled Hanbury. Free kick to the Saints.
It's been good defence from St Kilda. Mumford's had Murdoch on a few occasions, one-on-one, which is clearly a mismatch, but the support the Saints are bringing back in their defence has not made that relevant.
Now, Baz, can I ask you a question one of the Saints fans asked you as we walked around the boundary before the game? Who are you barracking for tonight?
I'm on the fence for now. I'll just see who's going to win.
Lee kicks the ball up to the wing, and Richards returns the favour, takes the mark.
Big job for Dan Hanbury. He was absolutely battered last week. He's backed up and played, which is a great effort. But now he's got Clint Jones, who's going to make it difficult for him, Spud, to get his hands on the ball.
Now, we know what Clint Jones, you have a look at Clint Jones, the way he goes about it. He just plays tight. He allows Montagna and Del Santo to play their natural game.
In fact, he just made a switch at that last stoppage and went on to their skipper, McVeigh, who's been in unbelievable form.
He has. Hanbury got involved.
Good pressure, the Saints.
Yeah, Kennedy couldn't do anything meaningful. It was just a slight high tackle.
Yeah, again, it was the forward line. It was the frontal pressure as well, Jared. Not only the tackling pressure from the Saints, but they're really forcing Sydney to turn the ball over at the moment.
Jack Stephen goes in search of Lee. Tommy Lee up the ground. Could be one of those players where you actually feel like you've got to say his first and second name together, Tommy Lee.
Another great duel. Lenny Hayes and Josh Kennedy there just left of screen.
They're a natural matchup, aren't they, really?
Yep.
Armstrong, some work to do because Saad flashing through your screen. Terrific play. Top of the square, Swans with the extra number. Grundy manoeuvred himself into the right spot, and Armstrong bounding away off hard back.
And this is what they've got to get out of Armstrong.
Yep.
Plenty of rebound. No Reece Shaw, no Alex Johnson. Much better play there from the Swans.
So because he's off the ground, that's why Grundy marked that ball. And I think there's no doubt Scotty Watters will be looking at that to maybe try and keep Cozzy down there as much as he can.
Oh, this is why he's an underrated key forward. He's not a key forward before, because Jude Bolton can hold you out and he takes really good contested marks.
And they need another down there, but Mike Pike couldn't oblige. Clearing kick was a good one, back to the wing. And away it goes from Dennis Lane over the line and out of bounds.
But it's almost as if the Saints are anticipating better the long kick to the dangerous spot by the Sydney Swans. They have more numbers down there, and it's going to make it difficult for anybody to crumb it.
And as Baz talked about earlier, Sam Reid is not in great touch at the moment. He's the one that can really set the big pack mark up for Sydney. He's off the ground at the minute.
Armstrong, Parker, Revolt, Stanley flies over the top. Montagna got it to Jones.
Good breakout.
And they piece it together well.
Got Geary in the middle.
And we've already seen Murdoch look good. And Geary decides to go with it. And the force is with him. It's goal. No. Marked on the line, was it?
It's a goal. It's a goal.
We're going to get a review.
You're going to pay behind him for a juggle marks. Okay.
He thought it was a marker of nothing, but he's playing it behind.
He's a point juggled over the line. Can you please review?
That would make
We said he
laws of physics challenge.
juggled it. I thought it was a clean chest mark, but the goal umpire was in the best position. We'll have a look here.
Unless it bubbled backwards. Should be interesting.
Hey? Well, he thinks it's juggled over the line. So we just
It hit the hands first and then it went into the chest mark.
Chest a bit, but I just thought it was a blind chest mark.
So he's saying his chest was over the line, but his hands weren't, basically. Well, there's no way you can dispute that from that angle. The angles.
He's in the best position.
You completed, marked.
Okay. Teddy, it's a mark. Paying the mark. Now wait.
Okay, I'm not they can
In real motion, I thought it was a clean chest mark, but it did bobble on the slow-mo.
It bobbled, it has to be behind.
How could they dispute what the umpire said there? Anyway, Parker. Bolton again. Parker. Reid, lovely give for Kieran Jack. The square was vacant. It was a temptation he was after. And he took a second crack. And again, the Saints ramping things up here. Good pressure, and the crowd appreciate it as well. When it's over the line and out of bounds. And the Saints fans, I'm sure, really pleased that one was quelled effectively.
Oh, it saved a certain goal. The 17 tackles to 9, St.Kilda's favour. Their work rate's first class, the Saints.
Well, free to Pike, was it?
And that's just a relief. St Kilda, dominating the game, the contested ball, a couple of easy free kicks just releases the pressure on Sydney.
It's always been a pretty good shot at goal, Shane Mumford, so this one is certainly within his capacity on a dry day. On a wet day, it's all about getting good connection with the ball and hoping it doesn't slide out of the hand.
The ship needs a little bit of steadying at the moment for the Swans. And unfortunately for Mumford and Sydney.
I've got to say they're going back to the mark before the kick before the contentious mark. The locals who haven't seen the ball kicked that far before, they were very excited with it.
Dempster, precision kick required there. Jaron Geary. He's certainly in that group of Saints that needs to really come on. Geary, there's a whole age group missing in their list.
Good defensive punch.
That was really good play.
So the guys that are 21 to 23, they need to lead the way to some degree, Jared.
They do, Hutto. Obviously, at the draft table, they will look for some senior players to fill it.
Hayes.
Free agency also gives them that opportunity, but I think Scott Watters has taken on the challenge. He knows there's some issues with his list, and he is going to try and do something about it.
There's 5 players tonight under 5 games. And that is the most number of players under 5 games since 1995.
Yeah, it's a bold move. It's a really bold move at selection. It's an important day. He knows that. And he's backed them in.
Lenny Hayes has started extremely well for the Saints, coming up to disposal number 7.
Parker. I'm sure the coach would love to see that. To full forward. Hanbury. Stevens and the conditions combining to shut it down. Ross back into the middle. O'Reilly was just a fraction slow. Robertson and Rewalt both outstanding with their anticipation. Geary, the give was good back to right. It's close to the line. It's over and out. It's interesting. You talked about the tackles. John Longmire talked about them post last week. He was really disappointed with their pressure. Wanted a better effort tonight.
Yeah, basically it was missed tackles, and it's, you know, once we looked at that, and sometimes you can complicate it a bit too much, but we had some really poor missed tackles that Geelong were able to break, and they can't be done tonight if we're trying to be successful.
Again, right off half back, Stephen and Hayes.
There's the tackles there. St.Kilda 19, Sydney 10. So that's a real worry for John Longmire and the coaching staff. They've talked about it all week. Get St.Kilda out tackling them, which is taking nothing away from the Saints. They've started extremely well.
They have Malcheski providing the dash. Dempster.
Yeah, it's a double whammy though, isn't it? Sometimes you can have more tackles, but be getting at the numbers up there because you haven't got the ball in your hand. But the Saints are the ones that are well ahead in possessions as well.
And contested possessions. So really good indicators for St Kilda fans, but it's only early days. I'd love to have more on the scoreboard.
He dragged the ball in there.
Bolton. Got a run up. That's when he does his best work. Couldn't mark that time though. McLean has willed himself. Here's Teddy Richards, a rare venture forward. He's liking the shape of that. Ted's excellent adventure into the forward line.
And the goal comes from a half-back player. And we watch the numbers evolve, Spud, about why the tall forwards aren't kicking goals for Sydney. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe because it's almost impossible to take marks in those sorts of conditions. And, well, Reid is jumping and he's bringing the ball to the ground, but that's where the space is. It's actually now 45 metres away from goal. It was a good rebound goal by Ted Richards and a good give.
Sydney in front for the first time. There's a bit of a Sydney chant going up around Westpac Stadium.
Cozzy back into the ruck.
Del Santo caught one very high from Parker. Kaczynski decided to go with the 55-metre bomb. And it goes to Rewalt and it creates a goal. How's that for a quick response?
That's great play from Cozzy, because he was the first to know you get a quick entry inside your forward 50 as a coup forward, you're going to be one-on-one. Yep. And it was a chaos kick, but it created a lot of chaos. You can see here the free kick, and then Cozzy was aware that the advantage was paid, just gets the ball on the boot. Very hard to read that wobbly kick, and Rewalt over the back. That was a dangerous place there. Ted Richards just kicked the goal, and the skipper said, well, you kick one, I'll get one back.
It was interesting, you saw there Ted was going to go the ball himself, then he got edged out of it and his man did the damage.
Poor old Ted didn't get long to enjoy the glory of the goal, did he? Got one and then conceded one immediately afterwards. And St Kilda's lead is restored here in Wellington. Mumford the tap. Stevens been causing a bit of havoc. Hanbury.
Stevens had plenty of them.
Swans are able to thrust it forward. And that's going to be a set-up now after Kennedy's kick.
Ryan O'Keefe looks to be playing that half defensive role. He hasn't had much of an impact. He's only had the one kick. It looks like that he's either going to play on Dempster or Fisher and keep them really honest. So, but the benefit, he'll be able to go in the midfield at some stage with his run.
Tanya was in there. Kazitsky. Armitage. Got buried in all of that. Geary. A couple of efforts at it. Hanbury. Kennedy, the pressure pass from one, but they gradually got into a better position. Nick Smith, unscientific kick, but could have very promising results. Armstrong just changed his mind midstream. It was a good decision as Jack lined them up. Couldn't light them up.
Good hands from Tony Armstrong then. It's been greasy, but the St Kilda pressure has forced Sydney with their hands to turn over a little bit. That was a lot cleaner. Tony Armstrong.
Sydney's
intercept on.
Opportunity here.
Well, Benny McGlynn, if he had been any other player on the ground, they would have marked that. Unfortunately, he's a little bit compromised in the height department, and he could only get a spoiling fist onto it. But it was really well read.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, Jared.
No, Anthony, I'm with you.
Mumford, Stephen again.
It's going to be one of those nights, I think, Spud.
Well, Sydney have actually worked their way back into the game because of all these stoppages, Jared. They're nearly level pegging now, the contested ball. The inside 50s, they're up by 3 now, the Swans.
Still nothing pretty when they go forward, though. It is just still long bombing stuff.
Can be a dangerous kick, but this time the Saints are in the right place.
Well, the fast breaks on here for the Saints if they can win it.
There's absolutely nobody ahead of the players at that stage towards St Kilda's end. That's all changed now.
Well, Ben McGlynn was very lucky then. He elected to bump Nick Revolt instead of tackling.
Ahmed Saad and Nick Smith. Saad was smelling out a quick break goal.
Jack, the thrust and parry of it all.
I misread that. He just had to lay that up by hand.
Bird, and there's the safety. Dempster, of course, a former Swan himself. Standing an interesting kick. It was a low bullet out to the wing. Lee, the handball moving. That designs on Lee Montagna. Hanbury. Shuffle it around. Poor Marty Manna goes to ground as he kicked it to half forward. Tough night for the big handball. Here again, Pike. Stubbed it into the 50. Goods. The traffic went past and allowed him some clear space. Jack, and now McVeigh. Has he got enough leverage? Oh, has he got enough leverage? What an outstanding player he is.
Yeah, that's his 11th goal this year. He's a goal-kicking midfielder now. That's why he's the go-to player. That's why Clinton James is on him. This is better hands. Smart play from Mike Pike to keep the ball alive because Adam Goods just had the awareness, could have blazed away. Error the handball there, but Kieran Jack just opened it up.
He's around the corner though, Spud.
What a great goal.
That is a huge kick around the corner.
That was a magnificent... He's had a fantastic start to the year. He's been their #1 ranked player this year. Joe McVeigh, outstanding start to the season. Going for 3 disposals, but that one really counts in a low-scoring game.
And it counts particularly because the Swans are now in front. Pike was given an armchair ride there. The umpire thought better of it.
Well, they responded really quickly last time the Swans kicked a goal St Kilda, so here's another opportunity for them. And sadly, I think Lenny Hayes thought he was about to get a piece of the goal-scoring action.
McAvoy had the last say with a big swipe down. Hayes brought the gate. Desperation that has been his trademark for so many years. Swing and a miss from Ratner. Opportunity beckons. Seb Ross to full forward. Tommy Lee and Richards. Willie Altman on the ground at the moment. Nick Smith there.
Nick was the only one who kept his feet.
Good pause.
Well, they've got the overlap here. Hanbury will be the recipient. If he moves it quickly, he's just going to kill the clock.
He had 20 seconds. A kick to the wing to the advantage of Hanbury, who know they're coming, but it won't stop him flying for it.
Yeah, and Hanbury absolutely filthy that ball didn't come quicker. It was all set up. It was just a chip over the top, and he bailed out on it. He might have been told, of course, that the siren was just 20 seconds away, so it's hard to know what info he was processing.
Siren sounds to end the first quarter of AFL football played on international soil for premiership points, and the Swans find themselves in front
No, it's been a pretty scrappy start to the game. A lot of contested ball. Fantastic start for the Saints. But Sydney Swans, you could just sense the last 10 minutes they started to get the game on their terms by winning that contested ball and the clearances.
So the Swans up by 2 in this wonderful city of Wellington. We've had some lovely weather. We've had a bit of cool weather as well. The wonderful sights of Wellington, very picturesque, some terrific landmarks, and everyone who's been part of the invasion from both Melbourne and Sydney have enjoyed themselves in the last couple of days, catching all the sights in the lead up to this big game. What an occasion it is for AFL footy. Swans in front by 2 points, but there's a lot to work with Gerard Healy and Danny Frawley for Scotty Watters and the Saints.
I think he'd be really buoyed with the response. They could have gone even further in front when they had domination of the game for the first 20 minutes, but the Swans have fought back and fought back well.
Let's get down to Barry Hall at quarter time.
Yeah, thanks, Hutto. Look, both camps seem pretty pleased with their first quarter efforts. The Saints really come switched on. They tackled hard. Their defensive backs were pretty impressive. But the Sydney Swans, as we expected, pegging back half after that quarter. They're fighting pretty hard, these two clubs, and for this reason, the Simpson-Henderson Trophy.
Thanks, Barry. Yes, the trophy acknowledges the two men who embody the Anzac spirit. Of course, both are part of the enduring image of carrying wounded on the back of a donkey during the Gallipoli campaign. We know that Private John Simpson, who served with the Australian Army Medical Corps in the 3rd Field Ambulance at the time of the Gallipoli landing on April 25, until he was killed in action by machine gun fire while carrying 2 wounded men on his donkey on May 19. And then it was the New Zealander, Private Richard Henderson, who took over after Simpson. He survived the war and lived until 1958.
Well, as you can see, Swans continue to go really tall in the forward line. Mike Pike will take the centre bounce. Sammy Reid is looking to get his first grab. But looking at the Saints, Del Santo just 3 possessions. Montagna only a couple. Armitage 4 handballs. They're the 3 that need the lift for the Saints.
Well, that's a positive for the Saints. There is upside there. But the start of the quarter, the Saints put 5 inside 50s to 0. After that, the Swans put the ball in 14 times to 6 at the end of that first quarter.
Glenn put himself into a dangerous position, literally, and kicked it to full forward with the resulting free. They gang up the Saints. Geary giving them that run.
That's brilliant play from Geary.
Looks like he's a man just really growing in confidence. And quite accomplished as well. Rampy around the corner. He's Geary again.
I mean, it is difficult to be as calm in the brain as he was there. Have a look at all the pressure around him. He can get it, long bomb. He doesn't do that. He dummies the handball and then he gets it and kicks it to his advantage.
Hayes got a bit of a run at it. Del Santo tried the bounce handball. That's shut down very effectively and quickly by McVeigh.
Well, those conditions suggest it's a game of yardage. And the high players, both sides elect to go with tall forwards. I think their job now is to bring the ball to the ground.
And that's one of the reasons Del Santo is struggling to get the possession. Great Bird has come in. They would have pinpointed Del Santo needs a tag. On the up for the Saints, Lenny Hayes, who's yet to come back to his best in this season, has started the game in magnificent style.
And Nick Del Santo only averages 20 disposals versus Sydney in his career, which is his equal lowest against any club.
We can see Craig Bird there. He's playing finger in the back with Nick Del Santo. Del Santo loves to play as the sweeper and he's just manning him up.
That was so clever by some of the experienced Swans campaigners. There's a few more experienced than Goods and Bolton.
It's been amazing, Jude Bolton. I think a lot of us thought that Jude Bolton was going to walk off into the sunshine when he got his second premiership, but he was the hardest at training. He's broken his own personal records. And he started in absolutely magnificent fashion.
Yeah, and he's up for game 306. You know, at about 270, I thought he's going to struggle really to get to 300, but he's just getting better with age.
Just off camera there, Ben McAvoy is getting some treatment by the St.Kilda doctor. So keep an eye on that. Free kick goes to Kieran Jack.
Just a couple of danger signs here now for the Saints. Sydney have come out after quarter time and just owned the football.
Not only own the football, since about the 10-minute mark of the first quarter, they've owned the inside 50s. Have a look at the time in the forward half, the start of this quarter, 92%. Well, that should have been a free kick to Jones.
Advantage taken by Lenny Hayes. Poor Clinton Jones had to wear one, and Lenny got to run off with the footy. Kazitsky tries for Revolt, but it was a little too predictable.
Yeah. Slapped the arms there. Yeah, against Nick Malcheski there. I thought he did slap the arms. He was the third man in. Just a quick hit of the arms there on the chant.
Danny Hayes. And bit by bit, they piece it together here. Opportunity for Fisher to maybe do some damage. Big kick. There's lots more Swans than Saints back there, though.
Great combination from two premiership players there. Smith had the man covered, and Grundy just came back, turned his body and took the mark. Montagna really had to make the contest.
And Cozzy had to be aware, if you're going to lead into a dead area, Grundy will always read that high ball. He's got to stay deep a bit more, Cozzy. We saw it in the first quarter. Keep him engaged.
I mentioned Ben McAvoy has not had a possession yet. Tough night for Ruckman, I guess, to take marks around the ground.
Yeah, he's had a great start to the year, though. He's currently the second-ranked ruckman in the competition, averaging 16 disposals and 27 hit-outs. So he'd be disappointed he's not getting on the scoreboard with possessions.
And there he goes. Good follow-up work.
Yeah, it was a good smother, though, from Kennedy, just to keep it neutralised. Kennedy, of course, tagged last week. Perhaps that is worst return for a long time for the Sydney Swans.
Hanbury came out the back to Jones. McLean
hit the ball.
And Ross was good tackling. Well, he may have been penalised for a slight high tackle.
And that was smart from Nick Smith. He was going to play advantage and thought, no, I'm running into a brick wall here.
McLean and Hanbury running to all the right places and delivers perfectly for Bolton.
Strong hands, Bolton.
Reed, top of the square.
Can he get a run up to one? He had to wait longer than he would have liked. Some falls for Rampy, who showed some really good signs last week, and he angled that kick beautifully for Goods. Desperation of Geary again, but Kennedy, McVeigh knew it was coming.
Well, we've spoken a lot about just how greasy that ball is, but that mark of Jude Bolton's out in front. It's one of the toughest skills to execute, off a bullet, and yet he grabbed it magnificently.
Thumbs behind the ball beautifully, wasn't it? Greasy conditions.
Vacant goal square if there's a quick snap here.
Oh, he's hit Reed with the smother. It's gone down. Sam Reed as well.
Revolt reels one in out wide, a long way from home.
We've seen this a number of times. The Saints get a mark on the wing, but they are unable to get it in quickly enough and deep enough, which suggests it's going to be an absolute shooter. It's going to be an absolute slog.
Just saw Sam Reed there on the bottom of the screen, still the effects of that smother.
Gilbert runs into it. What was an attacking position in the middle, but it wasn't great service for him.
It's come off.
He's got away with one there, the skipper. That could have been ugly.
Yeah.
Fisher for Geary might get called in. Murdoch just got out of his way.
Done well here, the Saints. They haven't been busted open.
Quick kick from Fisher. Revolt through to contend with. This is their issue, isn't it, still? Being able to take a clean mark or get a clean run at it in the 50. Revolt improvised well. Grundy, Armitage, has to go again. He slides in. Didn't make low contact, though. He made side contact, if anything.
Good pressure from the Saints forward, though. Force that high ball into the corridor.
Here's Jones. Fan it very wide. Montagna. A waiting game.
It's hard leading up. Now he's got to get back.
Well, it wasn't a bad kick for Revolt.
Great kick.
Yeah, it was terrific.
It was a magnificent kick. Nick Malcheski was spectating the ball for a while, and then he turned around to see where Revolt was and was too late.
Well, he was circled by about 4 players, wasn't he? But he just found the right avenue.
Well, it was just a beautiful weighted kick from Montagna. Just kicked the ball to space. It was a really good kick over the top of Nick Malcheski and had him searching for the ball and for Nick Revolt.
It's unlike Sydney to leave a hole like that and not cover it.
Look at those numbers, Spud.
Started extremely well. A lot of them are up the ground, but his work rate has been incredible here tonight.
He'd be that far in front in their best and fairest right now. He's aiming up for, what would it be, his 5th?
Yep.
And he's aiming up for goal. And they're back in front, St Kilda.
Here's Sam Fisher here with the kicked him right on the head there. That's he's lucky to get away with that, but that's the greasy conditions. But it was there's the Armitage slide there with Ben McGlynn. Yeah, play on the calls there. But this is a beautifully weighted kick here from Lee Montagna. Look at Malcheski in the hole, kicks it over the top, and then looks around, and there's Nick Revolt. Magnificent kick.
That's one thing that does happen when you're a defender. If you've got people with support in front of you, sometimes you drop off 5%, and Heath Grundy certainly did that, knowing he had support, and look what happens.
Great stuff, Baz, out of the middle. Lenny Hayes, that's good stuff too, gets them deep, and almost the mark taken for Lee. Revolt, he's a man possessed at the moment. Montagna, couple of the old firm, around the corner, Hayes, and Lee does get his chance.
That was a deliberate kick there from Lenny Hayes. You've got to be excusing him for blazing away, but just at the last minute he lowered his eyes and saw Tom Lee running into space. It was a really good, so you had to kick the ball long. Melchescu was there again as a loose man in the hole, so that was a great kick from Lenny Hayes.
So he kicked a goal in his first game a couple of weeks ago, Tommy Lee. As you mentioned earlier, Spud, in the Waffle last year, 60 goals was enough to get him noticed. He's 22 years of age, and he'll be dreadfully disappointed with that.
He's had a bit of work on that. He really did swing the foot across the ball. Just looking at the records on Nick Riewoldt, he'd be aiming up for his 6th.
Yeah, he already holds the club record with 5. Robert Harvey, the former St.Kilda champ, with 4.
We're going to see Robert Harvey's number running around later on too, with Josh Saunders, the second of the young Saints to make their debut tonight. Armstrong took on. Oh, he's got a free for in the back. Doesn't even know it.
No, he doesn't, but at least the intent's still there for St Kilda. There's no easy out for the Sydney Swans half-backs, and they would love Reece Shaw at the moment, wouldn't they, Sydney, with that running half-back position.
Well, they need something from Ryan O'Keefe, who has just touched the ball on one occasion.
Make that too as he kicks the half forward. Parker, aggressive, hard running, and look at this. Jack's out the back. Out the back, Jack. Oh, he plays on and makes sure of it. Sydney back in front. It's a tight contest.
Well, that's a much easier way of getting a goal, Spud. You get your half forwards and your tall forwards up the ground, and you orchestrate some smalls to run into the paddock. There's Reed, but it was this bloke here. He's nearly the Swans' best player at this stage, Parker. He has just run through, played on, taken an opportunity and a bit of a risk, but he's had some faith that there would be someone there in the hole. And that was a great decision. He had a spare on either side of him. You see there McVeigh, he could have gone there, but it was Jack out the back.
Kieran Jack, we all know what a wonderful story his is. Now a leader, co-captain of this outstanding outfit, and the Swans are back in front in Wellington.
Magnificent.
And here's his partner in crime, McVeigh.
Starting to hit some targets now, Sydney. Forward to the centre.
Hard lead from Parker across the ground, and he got there and marked it almost, but not quite. Reed, Gilbert with his head over the ball. Everett there on the outside.
Did all the hard work. Luke Parker just dropped it at the last minute. Great body strength.
Great work inside the centre clearance here from the Swans.
Mumford, O'Keefe. Hayes laying tackle after tackle. It's his 4th already. Saints have laid 10 more tackles than Sydney. Lenny and Kieran Jack both with 4 thus far. Mumford, Parker Dempster careful not to give away one. Hanbury once but not twice, and he's crunched. He'll get it.
It's just rugged inside.
Well, some of the rugby fans here would be quite familiar with this sort of play, I guess.
Well, the contested ball and the clearances are really evened up now. It's only a love-old draw in there. Hayes, Stephen versus Hanbury, Kennedy, Jack, Luke Parker.
Every man and his dog going up for the ruck contest. McVeigh stayed down. Bird. Goods, he's got a read on it. And it was good stuff by Fisher too. It's fairly ambitious to try and take the mark.
Let's take a look at this last centre bounce. It's not often you get a double tap. There's one, and there's 2 from Kieran Jack, giving it out to McVeigh.
That beats both ruckmen. Bolton made the play. Bird was looking for a free. Goods is looking for the footy. Oh, Gilbert, so dangerous and costly.
This is the ultimate pressure from the Swans. Combined with really greasy conditions, Gilbert, you just see, gets the ball, but it was bulldozed forward by Bolton and again by Bird. Comes forward eventually. Gilbert there tries to go for the line, but he doesn't get it across. And then take your pick of which leg.
McGlynn.
We'll give it to Ben McGlynn.
The thought was there as a defender, but when you're 15 metres away from goal, you're better off grabbing the ball.
He's
too far away.
Better stay on your feet.
Yeah, went to ground. Yes, the golden rule as a defender in that area of the ground, must hold your feet. Must hold your feet there. And he was out 15 metres. If you're going to go to ground, you need to grab the ball and handball it off. The ball was never going to go through the goal line from that area.
Well, it was Ben McGlynn who put it through. Back into it now. And the last couple of goals, and really the momentum is with the Swans.
I think the big boys got on top Mumford.
In the hit-outs, Jared, it's 26-14 Sydney's favour. Big money.
Saad found it going a bit treacherous there. Again, Montagna with a clever kick, and again Revolt. As I said down here, Richards was great. Jones just about could have been free kicked.
Well, Armstrong owes his teammate one there. He sat off the ball. He went too close to the pack, and it was going to be a goal.
Mumford tried to single-handedly drag them out of there. Even Hanbury's teammates are hurting him at the moment.
It's a great clearance punch from Kennedy.
Good collect too from Jack Stephen. He just couldn't quite release it how he planned, but he'll go again. And again, the conditions overwhelm him. Gilbert, Montagna.
Open goal square.
Sliding to the 50. Crunch! It's through.
That was better play from Sam Gilbert. He bodylined the ball, he held his feet, he forced the ball forward. I know Montagna kicked a magnificent goal, but it started with Sammy Gilbert. We knew he made an area about 60 seconds ago. Teddy Richards, just have a look at this as defensive work. As a key defender, just see the last minute. It's just desperation at its absolute best. But there's Sammy Fisher bodylining the ball, holding his feet on that occasion and giving it out to Montagna. Well done, Sammy Gilbert, sorry.
Goal will come with considerable relief for the St Kilda fans. Many have travelled from Melbourne to watch this game in Wellington. We've seen them, the Saints and Swans, scarves all around town, Jared.
Yeah, I think it's probably about 2-1 at this stage. So good representation from both. In fact, fantastic representation. You can see there the ground is three-quarters full. There's a couple of holes. But given this is only day one of what is potentially a long-term association with Wellington, it's a fantastic start.
And the ground's held up really well. There was a fair bit of rain this morning, and it's held up extremely well, the ground.
And the newspapers this morning with the back pages were all full of Aussie rules.
Had to be commended the AFL. They've got big screens outside explaining some of our rules for newcomers to the game, which is a fantastic thing. And New Zealanders are genuinely fascinated by our goal umpires. They don't understand them at all.
Well, it's the same worldwide, which is one of the reasons I think they should go back to wearing the white coats.
Agreed.
Not sure why. One of the most significant elements of the game that is known around the world would ever be changed.
The tight shorts got a mention too, Baz, didn't they, a few times in those articles?
Well, not as tight as the 80s either, are they, Jared? The shorts there.
Spud was prone to a few sets of tight shorts.
There's the engine room for St Kilda. Lenny Hayes. He's having his best game of the season so far. 15 disposals, 10 contested ball for Lenny.
Give that to Pike. O'Keefe, he was patient.
Oh, it's good ball-looking work though. Just starting to work his way into the game.
Yeah.
Adam Goods also hasn't quite unleashed yet.
Tommy Lee's kick.
Well, it wasn't great. He had Armitage on in the middle of the ground on his own, yet he's elected to go down the line and has hit a Sydney Swans player lace out.
McGlynn got mighty close to the man on the mark then. It's a half forward and not quite over. Parker now it is. There's Ryan O'Keefe. Quiet start as we said, but found the footy a couple of times.
One thing you'll get from Ryan O'Keefe though, he'll continue to run. look out for a big second half from him.
Saints had to get out of each other's way. Armitage, relentless effort, great stuff. Kennedy, though, hijacked it for the Swans. Stephen, Geary, Andreas Everett. Bit of a wobbly handball from McGlynn, didn't really do him any favours.
Tell you what, he is hitting the pack incredibly hard at the moment, McGlynn.
He's a driven man, I guess, after the disappointing end to last year with his injury. Would otherwise be a premiership player, you can only presume. Tony Longmire working the phones.
That was too easy for St Kilda. You talk about the ruck, even Mike Pike's having an impact in the ruck for Sydney Swans.
They're unable to break it. This is just a classic Indian arm wrestle spot. I'm not sure where the break comes from, but right now St Kilda aren't going away. This is a really honest effort from St Kilda. A lot of people have already written off their season, saying that they're become irrelevant, and yet they're here making it really difficult for last year's premiers.
Ben McAvoy, here's the contested possession count.
I mean, it's a sort of game, Spud, where it goes on and on and on like this, and you think, oh, well, at some stage Sydney are going to turn on the juice. And if they don't turn it on and St Kilda get a goal here and a goal there, upsets can happen.
Yeah, and they'll start to believe too, won't they? Kennedy to half forward, Parker.
He's going clean.
Oh, he missed McGlynn. He missed him by a fair bit. Fisher. Tanya, well, he decides not to try and jump all over the Giants. Jones.
Oh, look at this for hands.
Kennedy.
Good control from Kennedy.
McVeigh had Armstrong in reserve. Bird.
Good follow-up from Kennedy.
He's working hard, isn't he?
And Fisher missed the ball. Parker. Bolton. He's not likely to miss. Not from there.
Your point was spot on. Sam Fisher body line fresh air in the end. He was going for the man. You see him run through the bottom of the screen here at the body line the ball. He looked at the man and ran past the ball. As a defender, you need to take the ball.
Was he thinking that Geary was going to take the ball, Spud? Just looking for an out for him. Here he goes. I thought he might have thought that Geary was going to take the footy.
If Geary did say it was his, fair enough. I'll wear that. But when in desperate stakes, in desperate measures, you've probably got to play the percentage and take the body line the ball.
Couple of amateur goal umpires. And the fact that Fisher's running towards his own goal probably suggests that he should have body lined it and taken it.
Well, I think Scotty Waters would much rather two St Kilda players clashing together and not seeing what he saw then.
Montagna with the up and down. Couple of cracks at it. Jones. Into the 50, but out pretty smartly, you would suspect. Maybe not. Saad put a bit of forward pressure on, it's out of bounds.
Well, big opportunity for Saad. You think of those conditions, Stephen Milne, they already made for him, weren't they? He's out for the week with suspension. Scotty Waters was very vocal about it, and fair enough too, but great opportunity for Saad here without Stephen Milne in the team.
Armstrong.
Good hands from Armstrong.
Armstrong again.
Free kick to Rebold here. Downfield.
Yeah.
Oh, it's against Nick Rewell.
Yeah.
Jared Mike Pike. Come back here. Clean turn out.
Yeah, it was on Tony Armstrong off the ball.
So he takes the free hand pass, gives it to McVeigh.
Great kick. Yeah, great grab.
Parker, he's being sort of used as a marking target in some ways.
He's been really impressive, Parker.
And Reid almost. It's been the story for him so far this year.
Well, they're the ones that have been letting him down. I mean, when you've got five blokes you're jumping against, there's excuses, but not that one. They just have to be taken. Difficult, as we just saw. Parker again.
McVeigh angled the kick for Hanbury. All set up for Dan Hanbury. And he's going to pass it. Interesting decision. Must have thought he wasn't close enough to
well, he was 50 out, and McVeigh's going to be 40 on a more difficult angle, so take your pick.
Sydney is so good at making a score from mistakes. You know, an easy mark from Robinson, spilt. Now the Swans are shooting for goal.
So Jared McVeigh, it's a 16, if this is accurate.
Is he the first player to hit the post on foreign soil? Anthony, there's the free kick, and it was for the sling.
Yeah.
Not happy about it, and a good decision.
Yes, I guess there'll be all sorts of first, Jared, to tick off. First goal, Justin Kazitsky.
They've done extremely well here, St Kilda. I know the Swans are pressing. 14 inside 50s to 7 Sydney, yet they've only kicked 3 goals to 2.
Yeah, they still have themselves set up, Sydney, for 2 or 3 quick goals against, and all of a sudden the pressure on.
And Seb Ross sees it out. So 4.5 to go in the second quarter.
But they're going to have to be smart here, St Kilda, because there's no one forward bar Nick Melcheski, who's sitting in the back half 30 metres away from anybody.
Nick Reholt leading the disposals. Normally that belongs to a midfielder when it's just about half time.
Where Sydney really dominated this quarter is the clearances. 13 to 6 at the coalface. You know, the game's played on Sydney's terms at the moment. In close work, they're relishing this opportunity.
Kennedy has had a significant improvement. He's had a big quarter.
Jones in the setup, complete with Montagna to half forward.
At the back.
Tommy Lee there.
Couldn't get it there. Brilliant defence from the Swans.
Melcheski chimed in, kicked it back to the wing. Geary.
That's the one thing that off that half-back line, if you're going to be the A-grade, absolute A-grade, you've got to hit a target with that kick.
Stanley, there was no margin for error in the end, but was able to relieve. Now, Lee and Rampy had a bit of a struggle, and it comes to Grundy. Everyone finding the going a little bit difficult because of the conditions. Melcheski heaved it on the boot. Jones, wholehearted as always, takes the mark. 3.5 to go. It's a big 3.5 for St Kilda. Montagna, it's 1-on-1 for Revolt. Is there any interference there? No. It's just the skill and strength and experience of Nick Revolt, and Teddy can't believe it.
I'm a little bit with you there. Had a great contested mark in the end from Revolt, but I thought the grabbing less than it was 5 metres. It was about 15 metres away from the contest where he slung him.
If a defender does that, it's normally great, isn't it?
Well, I would have thought that was just a straightforward free kick, but seen otherwise.
Here's the bottom angle. He's actually manhandling. Yeah, it should have been a free to Teddy.
So Nick Revolt has already got 2 to his name, and there's the second post on international soil, Darren.
Well, it was an important kick.
It
really was,
isn't it?
10 points down, coming into that half-time siren, but they've got it where they want it. They've got the territorial advantage. Can they get the press up?
Chesky had Reid as a short option, but there was an element of danger in that, so he goes instead for Mumford.
Interesting playing man-on-man at these kick-ins, but the Saints, which is just allowing a few holes.
Gilbert, Hayes, and that's over and out.
Got a hold here now. The Saints, 2 minutes can decide this match for them. Got to hold, keep this lead to this much at the most. The Swans will just play down the line footy, just nice and conservative, you would expect, until they can get a break.
Keith, there's Gilbert with a double fister.
You're right, Sydney have actually dominated this quarter for 6 more entries, yet they've only kicked the 1 more goal. So Saints need to have that belief. If they can generate some more clearance work, they've been really smacked in the clearance area this quarter, the Saints.
Kennedy just momentarily caught high, and in the end he's going to be pinged. Good tackling from Lenny Hayes. He's made another 4 for the quarter.
Great kick.
Revolt continues. He's amazing.
They got Cozzy deep. He's 1-on-1. Have a crack here, Cozzy. Good effort from Melcheski.
Timely, wasn't it? Hanbury.
This is where they're dangerous on the counter-attack.
Parker couldn't quite get there that time. Geary sweeping in, stretching the handball out to half forward. Murdoch. The pace of AFL
footy. I think he had prior opportunity there too.
Oh, Melcheski.
His own player down.
Need to synchronise better than that. Inside the 50. Grundy takes it out. Saints start to gang up. O'Keefe. McLean didn't take the footy with him. The number heavily populating. They're at half forward.
I think Paul Roos has been on the phone, Spud, after 15 goals in the first quarter last week.
Didn't like it, did he?
I don't think Roosie's happy. He's been sitting overseas watching. He's flying in to sort this out.
McVeigh. Del Santo, inch by inch. Sard. Crucial ball. Grundy went to ground. Ross desperately getting it to Stephen. And overwhelmed in the end, the Saints.
It's a terrific contest.
It's holding the ball. There's the Sydney free at the bottom of the ball. That's to O'Keefe.
Sydney did extremely well not to give a free kick away there.
Interesting kick for Goods. He'll try and get it to Hanover if he can. And he can. Armstrong. He didn't think too much about the kick. Reed's done it awfully well, though, for the Swans. Outnumbered the Saints. Right.
That was great effort.
His kick falls short. Some nervous moments for Teddy Richards there.
They have to hold up here. The Saints have really held the switch up.
Grundy decides to go to the one-on-one. Jones and McVeigh duelling out there on the wing. And then,
still got some good players, but not enough of the ball. Primarily Adam Goods with just 6 possessions. Ryan O'Keefe 7 possessions.
Nick Del Santo's the one for the Saints. Scotty Watters needs to work with his coaching staff at half-time. How can they get Nick Del Santo into the game?
Stanley.
Craig Bird's doing a very good job, and maybe that he can somehow release him.
Montana charging away. And unfortunately, siren goes, so it is Sydney by 10 points.
Yeah, maybe Del Santo can play in a forward role, Spud. Maybe less possessions, kick a couple of goals. But right now, this is a really tight match. And the Saints haven't gone away, much to their credit. The Sydney Swans peppered the goals in that term. They were a bit inaccurate. They were a bit wasteful at times. But they have just taken a handy lead in, but certainly not a winning lead.
No, it's a real arm wrestle there. Nick Rewald, the Saints skipper, he's been absolutely outstanding with 19 disposals, 11 contested ball. His work at ground level, up the ground, 2 goals, 1. Just need his partner in crime there, Nick Del Santo, to get into the game. So there's some upside there for the Saints.
Let's go to Barry Hall.
Yeah, well, Sam, you're probably getting exactly what you expected from Sydney, aren't you?
It is. It's a good contest, and a bit with the greasy conditions, they're really bringing in the contested ball.
And the message at quarter time, you were hanging in there.
Yeah, look, we just got to keep fighting. It's a great day for it, and we just want to play the best footy we can.
Have a good rest of the match, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Welcome back to the studio here at halftime. New panel assembled. That Shorey is the only true running player out of the backline. So that's going to put more onus on some other fellows. We're just about set to get back to Wellington here with the Swans and the Saints. The Saints have to wipe off a 10-point lead here, which the Swannies hold, but they're such a wonderful team. When it turned into a bit of an arm wrestle there, tight, we use Anzac Day, the analogy, hand-to-hand combat. They love it. They love it. This is a very narrow ground. It's roughly the same length as Sydney, I believe, Shorey. And Parko, it's narrow. Yeah.
More like Eddie had, they say.
Well, as they go to their positions now,
let's hope they can hang in there, the Saints. We don't want this because they will be in a bit of trouble if they get beaten by a big margin from here.
Change.
All right, let's head back to Wellington now for the resumption of the Saints and the Sydney Swans. The Swans with a 10-point lead.
Third quarter underway. Pike clashing hard. Well, the first few minutes are going to be so vital here for the Saints. Jared Healy and Danny Frawley.
Well, there's Nick Del Santo trying to get the ball. Again, Craig Bird all over him there. So he's starting on the half-forward line, Nick Del Santo.
Jack Stephen going with Kieran Jack, couple of hard nuts. Pretty much one-on-ones in there at the present time. We saw Lenny Hayes and Kennedy having a great battle.
Geary crunched.
Ducked his head, so he gave away rights, but that is a great handball that opens it up. Big space at the back.
Yeah, that's in the back.
Parker.
He's been outstanding tonight. His body use. He's the only forward that looks really dangerous down there at the moment, Luke Parker.
Big shove. And here's a big opportunity to start well. Kennedy deep, but couldn't quite snaffle it.
Reece Stanley with the kicking in obligations here.
Both sides electing to go one-on-one in the kickouts.
Ryan O'Keefe started forward. Sorry, Ryan O'Keefe started in the middle with Hayes, and it looks like Kennedy's got the roll forward.
It's a free kick against Nick Rewald there. Heath Grundy to grip the ball.
So Grundy's on Rewald now.
And also they're not going quite as tall in the forward line, the Swans.
Fisher Unencumbered takes the mark, looks around for support. Del Santo, Dempster.
We talked about that matchup with Nick Riewoldt early on in the game because Heath Grundy played really well on him last half, and Ted Richards ran into the ground the first half on Riewoldt.
Dempster goes searching and discovering Lenny Hayes. Half back, Riewoldt turns out another 20-metre, 30-metre sprint to get into position to take the mark. Sydney lead by 11.
Mumford on the bench.
Kazitsky, Pike with the spoil. Sard. It was all about the next possession. And meantime, Hanbury's already scooting away.
Good pressure there from both clubs, but in the finish they did well, the Saints, to get it across the line.
Well, Saints started the game really well. Looks like their third quarter they're playing with a bit more intent than they were in the second quarter. So they need to get Ahmed Sard into the game. He's only had the 2 disposals for the Saints.
Kazitsky and Lee holding their position inside the 50. Riewoldt now getting back to join them away to the left.
Need to get the ball inside forward 50 a bit more though, Spud. It's like 23 times if you're a small forward, limited opportunities. But we're going to have this midfield slog you suspect for the entirety of the game. So it's going to come down to just taking your opportunities.
Well, Bolton dished it and Jack wasn't looking. Fair bit of intent shown by Del Santo, but came out Parker's way. Now Reid got to relish some rare space and he delivered.
Well, it was a perfect kick.
I like the forward line set up a lot better here for Sydney. It looks as if it's not going to be focused on long bombs. It's going to be focused on free-flowing footy, one-on-ones. You've got Goods down there. And Reid was certainly outside the forward 50.
So Adam Goods, 2 goals, 2 last week, 6-4 for the season coming in tonight. And you can add another to that. The Swans lead by 17 now, Spat.
Perfect start for the Swans. I like the read up the ground. Sammy Gilbert just laid off a little bit in that passage of play to allow Sam Reid to get into the play. You can see Reid here. And there's Sammy Gilbert laying off. He should have had more pressure, one-on-one all over the ground. It opened up for Adam Goods for a beautiful lead, but that's a good forward connection there between Reid and Goods.
Well, they've got a bit of an experience in the defence. I think Sydney will be hoping to get the one-on-ones rather than pack versus pack.
Fisher and Goods. Quite a match-up, that one. Saints need to make every post a winner now as the margin sneaks out to 17 here in Wellington.
Reece Stanley on Ryan O'Keefe. They've just changed the dynamic of their forward line here, Sydney.
Kennedy, McGlynn, McVeigh. No player really had full control, but they kept it in Sydney hands all the way. Stanley, some nervous moments as the ball was wobbling around on the ground. Reid, McVeigh, Malcheski. And it's going to create a goal.
How good was that mark in mid-air? He's pirouetted in the air, McGlynn.
Malcheski just flicking the ball with his foot, and McGlynn has just done a pirouette.
Malcheski had the magic touch in the grand final. Of course, Ben McGlynn, as we mentioned, had to sit and watch it all on that last day in September. Already 1 goal tonight. This for a double, and Sydney suddenly taking command in Wellington. They lead by 23 points.
Perfect start for Sydney. Luke Parker's doing an underrated job. Sean Dempster's only had the 5 disposals. Luke Parker, we see when the ball goes forward, he's making Dempster defend. He's not coming the third man in, which means every Swans forward is one-on-one. They don't have to compete with the extra player. That was just a magnificent passage of play, just getting the ball forward under pressure. Ben McGlynn. He's a talent, Ben McGlynn. Beautiful contested mark. Perfect start for the Swans. Up to the Saints now to really counter-attack back.
Well, coming into this match, the Saints knew that they had to get better at stoppages. And at the present time, they wouldn't be like the look of that. 3 goals, 7 from the stoppages. St.Kilda just 3 scoring opportunities.
Dempster.
Goes to Hanbury. And a half-forward, Gilbert. The Swans looking deadly at the moment, so the Saints need to make some sort of response to that. They give one up there at half-back.
Well, they've just won the ball from the middle so often, so they've got the territory, but going in now, they've got a much more mobile forward line, which has done some damage.
Parker again involved in a couple of elements of that play. Armstrong to Bird.
6 in a row now for inside 50s.
Adam Good stays down. He almost got to the perfect spot. Bolton beats him to the punch.
You're right, those 6 inside 50s, but it starts at the coalface again. Contested ball, 15-4 Sydney Swans. Luke Parker leading the way with 4. Doing a great defensive job on Sean Dempster.
Clearance is 4-0.
Pike held his ground well, got the tap down, but Hayes, Geary, Sebros.
That is dropping the ball.
Worked out of it. Murdoch around the corner.
Took the risk and got away with it, did Ted. Clean bowling.
I think the matchups are better now. I think John Longmire will be happy with the matchup with Grundy and Rewalt, Ted Richards on Cozzy.
Shane Mumford still on the bench, so Mike Pike enjoying the #1 ruck role just for the moment at the start of this third quarter. His follow-up work was good. Kennedy surging, Armstrong.
Another clearance.
Kieran Jack that one a little wayward. Out on the full, so Jaron Geary's ball. Where to next for the Saints? McAvoy gave him a short option, but he decides that Revolt or Kazitsky. Hard to turn back the clock.
Good support running from Nick Smith. The Swans defenders just looking for the boundary. Can they find it?
Oh, great play, Hayes.
Hayes just knows where the ball is and how to manoeuvre his body. Hanbury, though.
That is get it out of here kick.
It is, and it did, but for how long? Robertson with the running support of Stanley. Could have shared it with Gilbert, now he does. It wasn't a great handball in the first place, and it was one little mistake after another, and the consequences can be dire because the Swans are running. Hanbury has it under his command now. Released the kick. He gave it to the space, kept it away from the St Kilda defenders. They did have some sheer manpower down there, and those numbers might prevail or they might not because the ball is still moving, still in motion. McAvoy, a fumble again. Dempster out, but not for long. Also, it's coming back. Armstrong hugged in the chesty and then went short. And he finds O'Keefe. There's hands everywhere across the 50. And he is.
Well, Spud, at the opening 2 terms, that would have been a long bomb to the square. They've clearly come in with a different strategy, trying to separate the defence for St Kilda, get one-on-ones, get some short kicks in, and they've generated a lot better shots at goal.
Canterbury with 7 disposals for this third quarter. Parker and Bolton with 4. Jude Bolton, as you saw there, 1 goal, 1, and that's the third post.
It's a real worry for the Saints now, Hutto. 8 inside 50s to 1, but Gerard, you're right. They're starting to hit up targets around that 50-metre area, which really does make the St Kilda defence vulnerable one-on-one.
Better grab there from Reid.
Good side. He was completely uncontested, but he'll take that at the moment. Melcheski. Stanley has to go. Pike, who's looming large.
Well, we spoke about the stoppages, boys, and McAvoy just has to lift. He has to get his hand on the footy. Mumford.
He looks lame to me, Barry. Do you think he's got a problem?
Well, I'm not sure. He's been in pretty good form, but he's certainly out of form today. Mumford and Pike are just giving the Swans first use.
Well, they are, Barry. 40 hit-outs to 20, Sydney's favour. He looks tired, Ben McAvoy, at the moment.
McVeigh to O'Keefe, just jammed it on the boot.
Jeez, he's got some good inside handballs going tonight, Jared McVeigh. He has set up a couple of goals with them. That time, another opportunity to score. Just a little inside give. Well, there's an opportunity now for the Saints.
Dennis Lane.
Armitage turned his back.
Yeah, he was on a different level to Armitage.
There's no connection there.
Not at all. Kick to the wing and beyond. Robertson, Fisher. Saints need to sort something out very quickly. They'll have some time on their side here.
Well, the Saints have got 3 extras in their defence. It means they'll have to use the ball extremely well to score because it means that Sydney...
Nothing to go to, I suppose.
Exactly right.
Just killed it.
And just a quick one, boys. Swans has taken the green vest off, so there'll be a sub made very shortly.
Okay, what do you reckon, guys? One of the other young kids, maybe? Or here's Jack Stephen powering forward. And he's kicked it really not to the advantage at all of his teammates. And some extra shepherding allows Smith to run on and get his front towards goal. But
there's nothing pretty about that from Nick Smith. He was under enormous pressure, but he probably like his time back again. Going to handball it like that, maybe you kick it.
Murdoch, top of the square, Armstrong fending it away. Armstrong again, turned his body well, as if he was learning from Lenny Hayes. Mumford's had a rest and he's up and running again.
Bullet his way through then, Mumford.
Keith, they look at each other, the Saints. And it was a fortuitous drop in the end from Stanley that allowed Robert to really run on it.
It's good effort by Robert and bar the kick. Unfortunately, no one supported the kick.
It's okay to kick long, Jared, but you've got to understand that St Kilda got a loose player behind the ball, which effectively mean that the Swans will as well. So that long kick, that Hail Mary kick, is fraught with danger.
I spoke about the sub boys, and Saunders has come on for Tommy Lee, so he's subbed out of the game.
Melcheski. Play on. Right, here's that dash. Kazitsky. He wants to play on that.
He's got to go back.
Surely he wasn't allowed to do that. That is just crazy. He was forward of the mark, played on, he was out of bounds. The ball goes to the wing, and Dempster takes it.
So just taking the foot off the pedal here a little bit, the Swans. Opportunity for St Kilda, but they've got to get some possession inside forward 50.
Matner. Good slick work by the Saints, but can they get a result out of it? Jack Stephen looking for the downfield. No dice from the umpire. Mumford, Jones, Revolt, Dennis Lane. Again, they missed the target. And again, the worry is what Sydney do on the rebound out of defence. Armstrong.
You've got numbers everywhere, Sydney.
And now those numbers can all flat forward. O'Keefe. Calculated kick from McGlynn.
You talk about connection. Ben McGlynn, off camera, was running towards goal, then sensed he's going to kick at some stage, turn Robert around. That is perfect forward entry there from Sydney Swans.
All started at the back half. Mumford has had a question mark on his form over the last 4 or 5 days. He has responded incredibly. He's flying. That post has been hit 3 times.
It has. 4th poster of the night.
That was a really good call, Spud. It was well worked by the Swans players. Ryan O'Keefe knew exactly where to kick that and where McGlynn was going to lead.
Tommy Lee off, and there's Josh Saunders from the Geelong under-18s. Picked 43 in last year's draft.
Plenty of pace.
Pace and endurance, Jared, the draft camp.
Armitage.
Interesting time to drag him on at a good time because
they can get it through. Ahmed's through here.
There's a bit of a statement from a couple of their statesmen, Hayes and Del Santo. They're not going to go under quickly. Free kick to Saad.
Well, he was free from. Ooh. No advantage. Yeah, it was too high. He was free from
advantage. No.
That was a good play from Clint Jones in the end because he did play on, then he stopped.
He's going onto his right foot. I can imagine. I can understand why he stopped. He just clipped him a little bit on the chin. Ahmed Saad, one of the straightest running gunslingers in the deck, in the pack, has got an opportunity.
And he has gone back a long way. Wonder what the New Zealanders will think of this little routine. Swans fans aren't that impressed, it's fair to say. And it's all about the result, and unfortunately, the result was not what St Kilda needed. They desperately needed a goal then. So they must have high expectations of Josh Saunders. Spud, a famous St Kilda number 35, of course.
They get more famous than that. The St Kilda, well, Dual Brownlow medalist Robert Harvey. Well, that in over 360 games.
Speaking of famous St Kilda numbers, we'll just keep an eye on this passage of play first. Jones. Are you surprised that Aaron Sipos is not out there wearing the famous number 2?
Yeah, I am, Hutto, because I saw him train last night, and you did too. He's a big lump of a lad, and he uses the ball extremely well. With these conditions, it's all about yardage. He's the best kick in the team, and maybe he's had an injury, I'm not sure, but he to me is the future on that half back line to get some real penetration and run off the half back line.
Jack Stevens been at the coalface again the last few minutes. He's up to 17 for the night. Hanbury with 22. Hayes with 21 now leading the Saints.
The Saints need a goal. They've dominated the play the last 5 minutes. They've kept the ball inside their forward 50, but they're getting no result for their effort at the moment.
Where's it going to come from? Will it be one of the old guard? Lenny Hayes, perhaps. Geary. Maybe Clint Jones. Maybe not.
The St Kilda have dominated the last 5 minutes. 6 inside 50s, but for no score.
Longmire, not happy. Just for the moment.
Well, the danger for John Longmire and the Swans is that the players know they're that far in front that they've got the game in their keeping. But if they just take collectively the work rate down a little bit, Spud, the Saints can kick a couple of quick ones, and then all of a sudden they've got a match.
No, there's no doubting that, and that's where St Kilda need their leaders in Montagna and Del Santo, just to
get the first one.
Get the first one and get on a roll.
Pike down to McVeigh. Jones, it's a good scrap for it in there. Hayes. Del Santo. Maybe Nick Del Santo can break the drought for the Saints. He misses.
Well, look good off the boot. Just take a look at this one, Spud. You've got the tackle by Stevens. He goes to ground. He dives. And he, I reckon, was trying to take Kennedy with him, but Kennedy was too switched on, and I think that's what players have got to do. Don't fall for the trap when you come in and tackle, giving the free kick away, and here's an opportunity.
Well, will he join that illustrious club, Hutto? Kicking a goal with his first kick. I think it's somewhere in the vicinity of 217 or something like that plays in the history of the game when able to do that.
But only one on New Zealand soil.
Yes.
Spud if it comes through.
So Josh Saunders, 18 years of age. Would have been just the start he was after to his career.
That's a good fumble. Well, the look on Ted Richards' face there, I'm not sure what he was doing, but...
Run and energy. Are you good at the pill? Absolutely. Like you bore in, you get your head over it, you draw free kicks. That's all we expect from you. Honesty at the contest.
He's got his chance, Josh Saunders, midway through the third, starting as the sub. The Swans still have Lewis Jetta cooling his jets on the bench. And Hayes juggling the mark. I think it'd be just about time for Jetta to come in, wouldn't you, and provide that spark for the Swans. But I suppose it's the insurance. Yep. They're in front, though, in case they get an injury.
Well, they've actually dominated this quarter, yet you've kicked the 2 goals forward. They've hit 2 posts, which is unfortunate for the Swans.
Del Santo eased the kick into the 50, but again, it's all adding up to nothing for St Kilda. Goods, Hanbury charging across. Oh, Goods didn't keep going, so they had to go back to.
Forward 50 tackles often turn into goals.
It was well done from Ben McAvoy there.
They're not happy, the Swans. Look at them. Not happy with each other.
Well, it was odd play from Adam Goods, it seemed, from here. He gave the handball to Hanbury and then just stopped.
It was amazing where Adam Goods ran, though. That was the thing. He had to run wide to give an option, but he actually ran into the traffic, so the handball was never on. Trent
Dennis Lane just played 3 games tonight for St Kilda. After 19 with the Sydney Swans. That's his biggest kick so far, I reckon, for the Saints. He's up to it, and maybe they are as well.
There's the one. There's the one. One more spot, and all of a sudden they're going to go into 3/4 time thinking, we're not out of this game. In fact, we're in this game.
Oh, there's no doubting that whatsoever. This is really good play from Ben McAvoy. So he corrals both players. Adam Goods and then takes Goods out. Dan Hanbury under pressure just had to get the ball to the next contest, and it was all because of McAvoy's pressure there. Yep. That caused the turnover. That was great play. That's not his best game, McAvoy, but he had a good moment there. So can he lift?
It took until the 5 minutes remaining mark of this third quarter, but finally St Kilda able to give their fans a goal.
Well, I was rewarded for effort in the end, because it can be demoralising as a side if you go in there 5 times for not much result. So it was a very important goal in the end.
Seb Ross got it onto the boot. So much of the night has been about meterage, and once again it just becomes a hard slog in there. Rampy able to get it going though. Nick Smith, the half forward, a good one-on-one. Rotherton, the did everything but take the mark. Ross to Robertson once more. Left foot takes it to the wing. Richards led Kaczynski to the ball.
Free kick to Ted Richards in the back. Great use of the body there from Ted Richards. Knew that Robertson was under pressure, so elected to play in front. It was good body use, but read the play extremely well there, Ted Richards.
Well, this is interesting. Wouldn't want to drop it there.
Oh, Rampant for a moment. I thought he was going to play on right into the arms of Lenny Hayes. Armstrong spots Hanbury. There's no margin for error there. Goods makes his move, but he's got grander plans. O'Keefe got off Robertson, but not far off him.
Sydney being somewhat relieved. St Kilda have pressed the last 8 minutes, so it's a half a win for Sydney at the moment, having the ball inside their forward 50. The last thing St Kilda need now, going to three-quarter time, is Sydney to kick a goal to have all the momentum going to the last quarter.
Hanbury, Grundy, Armstrong.
Swans have got two players 50 metres behind the ball by themselves, so there's no fast break opportunity.
McGlynn for Bolton. Off the left, Jude Bolton.
Bounce.
It's a foot race, and well done for Geary.
It's got a good game, Geary. He's read it well.
He's used the ball extremely well as well. He's had the 16 disposals, going at 71%.
It was Nathan Wright, number 34, rather than the 14.
Yep.
It was Nick Revolt kicking in from full back. Done that too many times, you wouldn't have thought in his career.
Well, it's a win for Sydney, isn't it, with Rewalt inside there, forward 50.
I reckon the coach has just shut up shop. He's happy with this. He's happy to go in. I know they're 19 points down. He doesn't want to blow it out.
Well, he won't be happy with that, Jared.
No, not at all.
Parker kicks the goal. Good reward for him too. He's had an outstanding night.
You called it early, Jared, and I've started to watch him the last two quarters. He's the best player on the ground.
He's flying.
The work that he's done off the ball, he's kept Dempster at bay, he's given a really strong contest, and he hasn't fumbled. He's just made the most of his opportunities.
Yeah, he's been very good. You're right, Spud. That was another great conversion. Well, we've got Nick Rewalt just cruising back to the forward line. He's on the centre wing. You can see him there just running around the back of the square.
He may well have just taken it upon himself to go into the defence. Had some reinforcements, perhaps. McGlynn. Again, St Kilda need to win some of these contests and get it on the board.
Good hands.
Good hands.
Saunders getting a feel for it. Their forward Revolt just at the back, it doesn't get there.
He's really lifted Ted Richards.
We've got the matchups right now. Teddy is more comfortable playing on the taller, deep forward than the running Nick Rewalt.
No, he's got the advantage there, hasn't he? Well, he's got the disadvantage. No one's as quick as Nick or as far-reaching in their running.
Hanbury, did he kick that out on the full? No, it was touched.
You have possession of the ball. He's allowed to tackle you when you're in possession.
Hanbury up to 28 disposals. Hasn't been quite as devastating as he can be.
No, it's been more of a grafting game, but gee, he's grafted well.
It's a good night for grafting in these conditions. Geary.
I think it's amazing he's even playing here, the amount of
battery he took last week.
Physical pressure he had.
McAvoy gets involved.
An open forward line here, St Kilda.
Ball just squirting out. No.
Armstrong's the other one who's had a good quarter for the Swans.
Smith to centre half forward. Again right, and you can see the dash that he's going to give St Kilda, hopefully for a lot of years to come. O'Keefe. Big Mike's down there, thumped away Fisher. Stanley. Montagna. Poor old Andres Everett got there, took what he thought was going to be a mark, but it...
chaos ball.
Oh, McGlynn. Gee, it did appear as he was collected high. He did duck to some degree, but... normally they're paid.
He just had a little fumble just there that cost him an opportunity, and that looked head high to me.
And Swans fans see the replay.
The Saints.
deliberate. So Jack Stephen.
Can St Kilda conjure up a goal with less than a minute to play? They desperately need one to go. Hey, yes, here we go. That's 50 there against Matna, running through the mark.
Well, that's a really contentious one because Matna did not change his line, and it was really that Sard, or Trent Dennis-Lane, is it? He ran basically back across his line. It's a tough one for the umpires to adjudicate it as it's written. It needs some common sense.
Yeah, be very confident of kicking this. I think it's nearly exactly the same place he kicked his other goal this quarter.
So Dennis Lane stares it down, and it just drifted late, didn't it? Too much so. That telling that could be for St Kilda.
Let's take a look at this 50 again.
Put the hands out. That was
quite interesting. You don't put your hands up. Sometimes the umpire doesn't see it. You actually put your hands up and they say, well, you must be in the area.
And they actually identified that in the off-season. It's quite a bizarre one in a way to say that if you put your hands up, that you would give away the 50.
But basically what the game is asking him to do is anticipate that he's going to run back across the mark. Sorry, run back behind the mark. And he's thinking about his teammate, he's thinking about his opposition player. It's a tough one.
And Sydney leading by 25 points. They kicked 3 6-1 through. It was a strange quarter, Spud.
It was. They've got the game on their terms at the moment. St Kilda, if you lose something extremely special, I think they just need to take the game on, get the ball out of the middle, run through the corridor, get it down to Cozzy deep and rewild. Play to your guns.
And they've got Jetta in reserve.
Don't forget the jumper that you wear. Don't forget what this day means.
While the day is so much about the past, it was a brave new world for the AFL as footy came to Wellington. The first game on foreign soil for points, and it all took place on a special day for Australia and New Zealand. Justin Kazitsky had the honour of kicking the first goal on foreign soil. There was some confusion early for the locals to try and get a handle on. But there was no doubt about the Swans' desperation and the ability of Nick Riewoldt under pressure. Early in the second in the tight game, the Saints got going. Montagna putting it through, and maybe it would be a different St Kilda today, but Jude Bolton was able to answer, and into the third, Sydney looked the goods at the start of the quarter as Adam put one through from just inside 50. And the brilliance of Melcheski and McGlynn gave them another. But just when it appeared that they were going to run away, the Saints were able to edge back. And if they can kick a couple early in the last, maybe there's still a chance. It's a full moon. It's footy in Wellington. It's Sydney by 25 points. Barry Hall, and then Danny Frawley and Gerard Healy. Baz?
Yeah, thanks, Hutto. Well, after last week's performance against Geelong, I suspected that Sydney would come out and probably overemphasise their defensive side of the game, and they've certainly done that. They've choked this game up. It's been played on their terms. They're getting everything they want at the moment, the Swans. I think their midfield's been fantastic. Stoppages have been great. All their key movers, Kennedy, McGlynn, Hanbury's had a real impact. Their ruckmen have been fantastic. That's where they're winning and losing the game at the moment. The Swans are right on. There has been a sub made, as we spoke about before. Lewis Jetta has come on, so he'll give them the leg speed they need in this final quarter.
Spot on, Barry. Anders Everett there. Everett. He's been subbed off, and I think it's a class factor there, Gerard. The fact that you got Seb Ross, Tom Lee, Brodie Murdoch, Nathan Wright, and Josh Saunders. They've played, a couple of debuts tonight, 1 and 2 games between them. It's just the extra class around the stoppages.
Yeah, the demographic certainly favours the Swans. But that said, Spud, a couple of quick goals. Anything can happen in footy, as we know, but they're going to need to win a lot of these clearances and get some easy, cheap ones.
Wayward boot or two in there. Actually, the Saints get it to half forward through Geary.
Good chicken wing tackle, took him down.
And another fearsome effort from Riewoldt. Grundy, pretty high fend off. O'Keefe, got upended. Feel a collective groan around the stadium.
Yeah, St Kilda just need to attack the goal square. I like the fact that Cozzy's staying really deep on Teddy Richards in the goal square, so really create some goals. You don't have to kick themselves. You see a bit of a void there.
Montagna just scooting through. Bird, O'Keefe, smother again. Keeps it in the tight spot, and that's out on the full.
Reward there. Yep, from Nick Del Santo. Needs to find a target.
McAvoy gives him a 30-metre option. Got grander plans than that. Saad, perhaps. Saad can't get it to...
And the ball generally bounces in a straight line into these slippery conditions.
Don't mind them just kicking long to a contest, though. They've really got to take the game on, the Saints. You would think they've got to kick at least 5 goals, 6 goals to win this game of football.
Interesting that Mike Pike, the preferred ruckman again to start the quarter for the Swans. Here's Jetta. Great to see him out there, coming on as the sub.
50 metres, you can't cut in.
And he would be just wanting to explode here, Lewis Jetta, one of the great stars of 2012.
He wasn't waiting for anybody. Low ball into the 50. Didn't really have anyone's name on it, but Kennedy made it his own.
His output's dropped off significantly at the start of this season. He averaged 16 disposals a game last year compared to 10 so far this year.
Yeah, he just hasn't been hitting the scoreboard. He hasn't been winning ball. He hasn't been creating any goal-scoring opportunities or kicking them himself. Just 2 goals. I think this time last year he had 11.
Mike Pike's only taken the mark. He's just about knocked out Cozzy again. And there's Pike's kick up to half forward. Gilbert.
Good body work.
That's good body work. Be interesting with Sam Reid, Barry. That's far too easy. You picked up on it early. He's just not fighting enough for that contest.
Yeah, if you want to be a key forward, that's an area you really got to work on, the one-on-one bodies. And no disrespect to Sam Gilbert, but he's not a key defender. He really isn't. So he should be winning those contests every day of the week.
I think one of the problems he's got is he didn't anticipate the contact.
Here's some options. Armitage, Saad, if it just sits up, it might have its own map to goal, but it's Rampy that's able to get back there with that desperate lunge.
It's been a good find, Rampy.
He has.
Yes, Cozzy. Any arrest?
A bit sore after copying it from Mike Pike. Back to the wing, the Saints had the best position there. Murdoch didn't mark it. Gilbert didn't quite hit a target.
A lot of the Swans were deep.
Oh, Ross had no idea, blissfully unaware that Reid was coming. It was very nearly in the back, but...
It's just interesting with the Swans how they're guarding the space in the defence, but they're opening up the corridor for St Kilda at the moment.
Melcheski powers the kick up to half forward, away from O'Keefe. Gilbert again.
Great tackle, McLean.
He wasn't going to let go. Ben McLean. Reid shapes the kick for Goods. Parker waiting down. Goods, was he held? Parker. He's having a night out. Luke Parker. Can do no wrong. Kicks his second, and the Swans lead now out to 29 points.
This is a great performance. Goods does well, read it really well, got the ball forward, then shepherded. Unfortunately, another player going to ground. That time it was Reece Stanley, and in that position, him going to ground here cost the goal. He didn't have to go to ground, but when he did, there was no one there to take the ball across the line.
And also, Sean Dempster, he's just out of form at the moment a little bit. He's been injured, so he'd normally cluck those marks.
Cozzy after this. No wonder he wasn't feeling so good. As they rip into it again, McAvoy. Bird. Jetta.
Oh, he looks like he's rearing to go.
He's bursting, isn't he? To half forward.
I think he might have got a burst during the week.
We'll hear from the coach, actually, if we get an opportunity about Lewis Jetta. There's a free kick now. And the game's on the line for the Saints. Ross.
This bloke has been fantastic all night.
Where to next? Murdoch half calling for it. Instead he went for Saad, and it's got there.
Yeah, Nick Rewalt, it's been an amazing game of football in slippery conditions. 11 marks, 12 contested possessions, 24 disposals, 2 goals, 1. It's been his work rate.
This is the longest run-up I've ever seen in football. He is now at the centre.
Yeah.
That's...
And I think he's going to take longer than the 20 seconds too, Hutto.
That's a 35-metre run-up.
It'll take him a minute to walk there.
Yep.
There he is. The centre of the ground.
It is ridiculous, isn't it, really? I mean, each to their own, but that is just absurd. He's so far back. Well, he's almost further back than it is the distance he's got to kick the ball for goal. And the march begins. Left, right. And it's such a critical kick, and the crowd know it.
That's surely 20 seconds now.
Talk about put pressure on yourself. And now it's on its way. He just has to kick the goal. If buts and maybes.
Well, they're big build-ups. His shots at goal.
Yeah. He needs his own marching band, really, doesn't he?
He'll get his own rule.
Well, he almost has, in a way. I mean,
it was brought in from, Matty Lloyd, the forwards initially.
Good mark.
Good contested mark.
O'Keefe.
Saw Ryan O'Keefe in the street today, and I was thinking just about the career he has built. It's been a stellar career, Spud. He's won just about every award there is to win for the Swans. Thought about coming home at one stage, it didn't happen. Went back, played in the premiership, picked up Norm Smith medal.
261 games, and he was I think he was a mid-50 draft pick in 1999.
It's been an interesting transition too. Started off as a half forward, then became the first running high half forward, played basically half as a midfield, then he became a full-time midfielder, and he's been a jet at the wall.
Right, was able to get away with one there. And maybe the Saints can too. Burston Jones, he's all heart, but he had nowhere to kick to. And it went in between. They made a mess of it, the Swans, but Rampy was able to escape.
She's a solid Rampy under pressure. Unfortunately, the kick has rebounded through McVeigh's hand, so he'll be back under pressure.
But he does show great poise, doesn't he?
He's good.
For a young defender.
Through the legs.
He's on fire.
And the ball over the line out of bounds. Let's have a listen to what John Longmire said about Lewis Jetta and the reason he's the sub.
He's been a little bit quieter over the last month, but we think that maybe help him hopefully get into a bit of form as well. So if he comes on a bit later in the game and gives us that really run and dash, we want him back. We know he's a really important player for us, and we want him back in the best form he can possibly be in.
Tanya to half forward, Revolt.
Beautiful use of the body there.
No height ahead at all, so he's picked that apart well. Centred it for Geary, who gives it plenty. He's given them some dash off half-back, and now he's given them a goal.
Just get the ball in the hands of Nick Rewalt. He can do no wrong tonight. That was a really good gut running up the ground and push back. Have a look at this. Looked inside to Geary, and that was the option. That was the only free option on the ground. Tony Armstrong there probably could have just held the mark a little bit better, just overplayed it somewhat to allow Geary to play on, so just had to man the mark there. But it was a very good goal. They just need back-to-back goals now, St Kilda. Centre clearance crucial.
22 points the margin here in Wellington.
They get the next one.
Yep.
There'll be a bit of nerves for the Swans.
We spoke about Gary. He's one of the most underrated players and most improved players in the AFL at the moment for me.
He's playing well tonight.
Mumford, but Hayes stole the march. Off the left, Revolt again, looming large. He almost did mark it. Ted Richards gallops away, kicks out to the wing. Coming up to meet it though is right. And the Saints know they need urgency.
That's great defence from right as well.
And smother on Dennis Lane from McVeigh. Chance for redemption with the second kick. No height there. In fact, no one there at all to take a mark.
Danger.
Got numbers here, the Saints.
Jack Stephen working the angles out in his head. And he got it just right.
They're back the Saints. Back-to-back goals within a minute. Get the ball inside the forward 50. They're doing all the attacking now. Super kick from Jack Stevens. Just a fumble there from Nick Smith. But have a look at this under pressure. That's a classic half-forward opportunist goal.
Yes.
Magnificent goal there from Jack Stevens. He had the 20 disposals, 11 contested possessions, working really hard. Much needed goal for the Saints. And they've got the supporters here, the Saints, so they've got them up in their seats.
That's really energised the Saints and their fans. So many of them have come, made the trip, here to watch history in the making. And really only a win will be satisfying for them, and maybe they can get a surge on here. They've kicked a couple of goals. Armitage sends them forward again as the pressure mounts on this Sydney defence.
Well, they're winning all the clearances at the start of this quarter, 4-1, and starting out of the middle. But the 7 inside 50s for 2 goals 3, so they're generating some opportunities, the Saints.
Well, Mattner waded into that and
just let it go. That was a throw.
Nearly have been penalised. Clint Jones again. Well, it should be a Sydney mark. And it is.
Beautiful use of the body there of Ted Richards on Trent Dennis Lane.
Because he had an uncomfortable moment waiting for it, Rampy.
Here's Jetta.
Versus Murdoch. Bit of a test for Murdoch. Look at Jetta. He runs rings around them that time. Kicks it high to the wing. Goods and Fisher. Fisher takes it. They're impassable at the moment, the Saints half-back line.
They're putting a lot of ball pressure on the ball carrier now, the Saints. The high ball coming into Sydney's forward arm is really suiting Sam Fisher and Dempster.
Game's just opening up a little bit. Some very tight boys out there. And a fumble from Stanley. We've seen a lot of it tonight, obviously, in the greasy conditions. Del Santo to the wing. Jude Bolton, sure hands again.
Experience. He'll just try and take the juice out of the game a little bit and hit an uncontested mark if he can.
Oh. Little donkey kick there and got a little ride.
Good, sees the kick up. Parker. I've just had some correspondence, but suggesting that you did a cartwheel after kicking a goal in a pre-season game in New Zealand.
Yes, it was an exhibition game and we're 6 goals up at that stage, Hutto.
So you thought you'd put on an exhibition?
No, we got beat by 7 after that.
Bird. Tense moments for the Swans. And it goes over the line and out of bounds.
He's a really handy player, Craig Bird. So important last year. And again, he comes in, he's doing a job. You would hate for him to stand by you before the opening bounce. 86% has been the kicking efficiency.
Gee, just handed that off. That could well have been deemed a throw.
The thing with Craig Bird, he's playing on Del Santo. Del Santo's had 17 disposals, but he's going 42% by foot.
Yeah.
Now Jones quickly trying to sum things up the ground. He's tried to buy some time with a high kick, and Revolt hopelessly outnumbered really there, the Saints. If he can force a 50-50, he will have done well. Stephen, gee, they're on the back foot here, the Swans. This is good stuff from the Saints. To half forward, Hanbury stays down. It was smart play. He got some assistance too from Kennedy into the space. Oh, umpire takes it off.
Quick here, the Saints. They can't go backwards.
We've got Fisher on the break.
Gilbert needs sure ball handling. Del Santo, they've gone very lateral there, the Saints. And then a big torpy up the wing. Tough facade. Pretty easy, really, for the Sydney defence to take it out.
Good numbers there from Sydney at that really dangerous stoppage, or where the ball was about to bounce. There's the push out. Again, Spud, free kick.
Line ball for mine. I thought it was hands in the back, but he used his forearm there, Sean Dempster.
Still can't push that.
No, you're right.
Rampy. Surrounded by Saints. That was, again, interesting disposal. Bird back to the wing. Reed. And it's over the line. We're at the halfway point now of this final term.
That was an outstanding handball there from Dane Rampy under pressure. It shows a lot of poise.
Pike tries to give them first use. But it's all St.Kilda at the moment from these stoppages. It's out of bounds.
Yeah, 6-3, St Kilda's favour. They're pressing the Saints. Pretty open stoppage here.
McAvoy got the front position. Jack. Saunders. Got the inside-out torpedo. Nick Revolt has had to contend with a minimum of 2 players every time he's gone for the ball at the moment. They know that, I mean, he's their real one source of goals in this last quarter.
They're missing Josh Kennedy at the moment around the stoppages. He's played a lot of this quarter up as a forward, playing pretty deep.
And the push and the shove.
That's a good play.
Put the head down. Stephen just had a moment. Well done, Saunders. Bolton left a few in his wake. Saunders again. Welcome to the big time.
Jude Bolton was like a human wrecking ball there. He can sense the time of the game. St Kilda really pressing.
McAvoy certainly making more of a contribution as the game's gone on. Murdoch, McVeigh, Bird, Goods, trying to make the running, but it's just so difficult.
Well, it's been a hard slog all night. Unfortunately, we haven't been favoured with weather conditions here to show the best of the skills for those that are first timers at the game, but it's kept it to a pretty close tussle.
And if we do happen to get a grandstand finish, then they'll know all about it.
We've had a contest, haven't we got that? St Kilda 146 contested possessions to Sydney 42. They got smacked in the contested ball last week, St Kilda. Better effort.
Revolt desperate to find a familiar face. Oh, the squeeze is on here. 8:40 to go. Been hard to get interchange rotations happening because everyone's been around the ball and so far away from the bench.
Sydney are putting extra numbers around their stoppage, but a couple of the Saints half forwards need to go back to the goal square to open it up.
Get some space there. That time was a half chance.
Need to try and open up the space behind the ruckman here if they can, St Kilda. If you're manned up in that area, go and stand in the goal square because your defender will have to go with you.
Pike got it down for O'Keefe. And then Bird. And Jetta. And Goods. And he delayed it because he knew that Jetta was coming.
Good running
with a full tank. He's off and running and kicking. And unfortunately, he ran out of room.
Great connection with Adam Goods.
It was brilliant. Goods, yeah. The give or the get and then the give. I reckon he had two options and he just wanted to bring Jetta into the game.
Neither ruckman made it to that boundary throw in either. They're too far to cover.
Have a look at the connection here. Adam Goods knowing that Jetta is on.
And Jude Bolton on the inside.
Pike again brings it to ground. McVeigh is going to go over the line out of bounds. Eight minutes remaining. Third man up that time was Stanley. Scooped out Montagna. Lenny Hayes waiting for it. Eventually it came his way. Del Santo needed all his nimbleness to get clear. High kick Saunders. It's Revolt versus Grundy. Oh, he didn't mark it, Grundy. Revolt just pulled up a little lame and couldn't get onto it. Now the pressure. He'll know about it soon. This is the intensity of AFL footy, not in the back. Saints opportunity, Dennis Lane. Misfire from McGlynn. He was going to give. He does. Tries to get it to right. But again, Rampy kicks it back to the wing. Jude Bolton only knows one way. Henneberry been quiet in this quarter. Gave it up. Gilbert, can he kickstart them here? Lenny Hayes, you'll see Revolt screaming for it. Kicks it higher than that, and Stanley was down there as well. At the back side, Armstrong. McGlynn.
Still in the Saints.
Wind up again. Just got to get the next goal. Start the next minute.
Set sail into the pocket.
That's not going to help.
A fumble. Happy though. Every time he's made a slight fumble, he's recovered so well. But it's kick to kick here.
Going to try and switch the ball if they can, St Kilda.
A different approach maybe. It's got an element of risk, but it's proved to be effective. Murdoch feeding it Dempster. Again, it's in the square. Stanley. Lenny Hayes. Montagna knows the importance of this kick and he's able to deliver. Saints still alive.
Great play there from Robertson. He got his first kick, he kicked it long down the line to an outnumbered situation. Then he got the ball and tried to open it up through the middle of the ground, which then opened it up to the forward line. Lenny Hayes and Rewalt, they're nearly both those leaders for St Kilda nearly getting over the line here. Great handball from Stanley. Hayes over to Montagna. The firm. Terrific goal, terrific finish.
Magnificent.
Centre clearance has now become super crucial.
Oh, some real unease now for Sydney fans. The Saints relentless in this last quarter. Montagna, what a goal under the circumstances. Poor bounce from the umpire. O'Keefe and Sydney are inside. Reid and Gilbert tangle at half forward. 6 minutes to go. Wonder how many goals are left in this game. The Saints obviously need to kick a couple. McGlynn. And they go close to the line.
Well, dangerous area, yep. This will do the Sydney Swans.
Saints have done all the attacking this quarter. 15 inside 50s to 9 for 3 goals 3. The Swans only one major.
I think sometimes in footy you get just too far in front, and all of a sudden psychologically you leave it to everyone else.
Hayes is lifted.
Sebros and McAvoy. Richards steadfast in front of Kazitsky. Winds up again. A lot of St Kilda jumpers there. Wright got the fist on it. Del Santo. Saunders, he's shown a bit. He can cover the ground. So can Wright.
Open forward line for St Kilda.
And then some of the old. Kazitsky into the 50. They are burning the Saints. Montagna's done it once. Has he got anything left to give for St Kilda? He looks around and he goes for Revo, but
just tired legs in the end.
Yeah, Grundy was back.
Well, I think when he looked inside, Grundy was on the deck. And Grundy got himself up and took a chest mark.
Joey had to sprint 100 metres to get to the ball, and he was just, the lactic was too much to get the ball over Grundy's head in the end.
Spirited comeback, it's not over yet.
It's not over yet. The Saints, you just said, are doing all the attacking. Sydney trying to save the game.
That's downfield. Did it go? Just went inside the field of play, so it will be on that 50-metre intersection. What are you seeing there, Spud?
Well, I think it's against Joey Montagna.
I think Kazitsky called it afterwards.
Okay.
And just clean him up. You see it here.
Oh, there it is. Well, this is intelligent play from Adam Goods. Just taking the juice out of the game a little bit. Getting a settler.
Just what you don't need, though. When you get all the momentum, you give away a 50-metre penalty. That was a chip kick. No one read it.
Doesn't shoot for goal.
No, he was just looking for the chip. It was only McAvoy that read it.
Well, if you're going to chip the ball, give it some height. At least let Reid run and jump and contest on the ball.
McAvoy, he decides to have a bit of a skip and a run. Armitage from behind. Jack was very effective, not just knocking it, but to his own team's advantage. And Robertson has time to assess. He won't like what he sees ahead because there wasn't much for him. And that was great stuff from Marty Matner, doing what he does best, anticipating and cutting across.
I think he had to take the chance in Robertson to go inboard. There was actually a player on, and I know he's running away from the corridor, but Sydney were reading this one down the line far too easily.
Time starting to become the enemy now for the Saints. Grundy goes down the line, Mumford with the acrobatics.
But just going back to the Adam Goods decision, he's brought the 9-iron out and had a chip. Why didn't he go with the 4-iron and have a shot?
Exactly right.
Even at behind would have taken to 11 points.
Yeah.
And, maybe
You're right.
one more.
It was either the 4-iron or the sandwich with height to allow your forwards to compete and get on the end of it.
Bird.
I'll go for space here. They'll be happy if it goes out, the Swans, and they get a result.
What Sydney need to do is get a couple behind the ball, especially on the switch. The open side, there's the chip kick there. Yeah, it was just a nothing kick in the end.
Mumford powered it down. McAvoy, Adam Goods. Jude Bolton, I just admire the way he goes about every task. He and Lenny, two of probably the most popular players in the competition.
Stevens is a danger for mine here, Scott. He's got the pace to burst through a line. That's what they're going to need to do. Break a line, the Saints.
Third man up's really helping the Saints as well.
Just over 22,000 here in Wellington at Westpac Stadium. And they're seeing a finish that could still have a few more ups and downs. O'Keefe, Dempster on that last line. Treacherous stuff for the Saints fans. Fisher, umpire said play on. So they have to. And that was out. Well,
it was out before he kicked it.
Okay.
Good.
Great pressure there from Swans. Look at the hard tackle
Fisher
here.
Lucky here. He might have just got a little punch on it.
2:43 on the clock. Stanley. Hanbury McAvoy battled on gamely after a slow start. Oh, Del Santo upended. And still down, still no free kick.
Well, that's a win for the Swans. Just taking the juice out of the clock. He's really lifted this last quarter, Nick Del Santo. He wanted to lift, and he's been able to do that with 7 disposals this quarter. So Stanley was there as well, and McAvoy. So which one was the ruckman? That's the... But if McAvoy did impede his run, it's definitely a free kick.
Well, St Kilda obviously have to hope now for him to miss, and they'll get possession of the ball, the Swans.
Well, if he misses, no harm done. They get possession, it's probably a better result.
But it's relying on a big miss, isn't it? Because
pretty quick from here, though.
It's normally a reliable kick.
He's only 25 out. He's been a wonderful contributor for the Swans. And that is right through. And the Sydney Swans lead by 16 now.
That's the last thing St Kilda needed was to give a free kick away in that area, and Sydney dominated the last 4 or 5 minutes to build the pressure. Let's have a look. There's McAvoy.
Oh, it's gone against Stanley.
Oh, it's against Stanley.
For blocking the nominated ruckman.
Yeah, well, McAvoy's the ruckman. No, it's there. The free kick's there. Yep. He's impeded his run.
It's almost unfathomable that you'd do it.
If you're going to do it, put your hands in the air, not out sideways to show the umpire.
So it may well not end the way that Scotty Waters was planning this first trip away, but there is still a minute 50. They can get a goal here, who knows? They have no time to waste. Montagna kicked the great one early. This is going to go very wide for Kaczynski. Quite what he was expecting, Cousin.
Well, I don't think anybody anticipated.
They haven't bounced that high all night. He's had a falcon off the ground.
He's got to be the unluckiest bloke ever to play the game, doesn't he, Cosy? Just about. Munford still working hard at the coalface for the Swans. There's Robertson. Fashioned a kick back. McVeigh.
Play on. Still play, mate. Get ready.
Back to the wings. The Swans making life awfully difficult.
And
it's getting up for now. Reid was able to dispossess Geary.
Good hands,
He's showed a couple of nice little moves late in this game. He's up to 17 disposals, in fact. So there's a couple of ticks for the Saints youngsters.
Yeah, 10 of those contested, Hutto.
To
win the ball.
Adam Goods. I reckon he'd have a crack for goal now if he gets the opportunity. Kicks it quickly.
There's Nick Riewoldt coming up for disposal number 27, and that's his 13th mark.
Typically wholehearted performance from Nick Riewoldt. He knows that
good courage, Teddy.
He's going to be the mortal enemy for the Saints. The Swans are going to get there. They've had a fright or two in this last quarter. Parker, so good early, and for most of the game, in fact.
No, he has. He's been one of the few players to use the ball by foot. He's going at 80%. Both sides are going less than 60% by foot, and that's due to the pressure and the conditions. But his ball use and his ball handling have been first class.
Yours.
She's a big kick.
And Bush looking for a free. He won't get that, but he will get a victory. So history here for the Sydney Swans. They become the first team to win on international soil for premiership points, and those 4 points belong to the Swans. It was a hard battle. They really had to earn it, the Swans, and earn it they did. Footy has come to Wellington, and the Sydney Swans have prevailed 11-13-79 to 9-9-63.
Give us a game of football for both clubs. Played in the Anzac Spirit, Hutto. Contested ball, the conditions weren't great. 166 contested possessions in St Kilda. Sydney Swans 164. That's a big improvement since Kilda last week with Essendon, but I think it was the class factor and the extra numbers around the ball and the composure, Jared, under pressure was the difference in the end.
Yes, it was a win for the Swans, just doing what they've built their success on, and that is just grinding it out. added to a little bit of class as well. But I don't think too many Saints fans would be disappointed today, Spud, with what they saw. A couple of young kids emerging, but they were magnificently led by Nick Riewoldt. I saw the emergence of another kid called Parker Hutto today. I think it was probably his best game for the Swans. A dominant figure. He kicked a couple of goals as well.
Let's get down to Barry Hall with Jared McVeigh.
Yeah, thanks, Hutto. It must have been pretty important for the group to get back on track after last week with a pretty hard-fought victory.
Yeah, look, we were really disappointed with the way we went about it last week, and playing Geelong in that style, really disappointed. And come out tonight with a good win was what we wanted.
And it's been a big week for you. You come out Monday. Anzac Day obviously holds a great amount of significance for everyone. But to come to New Zealand, your wife's New Zealander, must have been pretty special for the boys.
Yeah, it's good to have the family down here. But to play on this day, we really respect what those guys have done for us. And to play a little part here tonight was a special thing for both teams.
And young Rampy down back, he's been pretty impressive for you, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. With Alex Johnson going down, we need another guy coming through. And he's only played a couple of games now, but he's really fitted in well.
Well done tonight and enjoy.
Thanks, mate.
They're the right team to be playing on Anzac Day, aren't they, really, when you think about it, the Swans, the way they approach the footy. And Jared McVeigh's been a terrific leader. They've won by 16 points.
He's been their best player all year, Jared McVeigh. And I agree with Barry Hall. Dane Rampy, they've found another one, the Swans. He's a New South Wales prodigy. He's 22. A lot of poise under pressure in that last quarter. Some of his disposal under real heat. You'd think that'd be a player that's played 100 games. He's playing his third game of league football.
Yeah, there he is. Most impressive under the heat of the battle that was there today. He really did stand up, and it's not just the first time. He's earned his spot early in the year, and he's maintained his position. And as Jared said, with Johnson going down with that season-long knee injury, and at the moment Reece Shaw out of the side, he's been a really important find for them.
And you can see St Kilda really built themselves up too. They put a lot of work and effort. I think St Kilda need to be congratulated, Hutto, this has been a plan for 18 months to come over to Wellington. A lot of people have turned up. It's been an outstanding promotion of our game of AFL football.
The only unfortunate part was that the conditions were a little bit greasy, which we didn't get to see the full array of skills, but it has been a terrific occasion, and some official presentations. The Simpson Henderson Trophy will be presented to the Sydney Swans very shortly. So everyone waiting on.
And the Anzac Day medalist as well.
Yes, which will be interesting.
You would think Nick Riewoldt would be a chance. Hadamry, McVeigh.
Let's join Craig Willis.
Gentlemen, wonderful turnout here at Westpac Stadium in Wellington for this inaugural match played for championship points in the Australian rules game. A wonderful game of AFL in the 2013 Toyota AFL premiership season. Let's collectively thank both sides for putting on a wonderful display of Australian rules football. And I'd like to invite the St Kilda captain, Nick Riewoldt, to come forth and say a few words.
Firstly, thank you to the magnificent crowd that turned out tonight. Wonderful achievement to get so many numbers here, and we'll be back again, so we hope you enjoyed the show. To both football clubs and the Swans, we really respect you guys. And to all the service men and women from Australia and New Zealand, past and present, we thank you for your service. It was a real honour to come out and represent you on this wonderful occasion, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Nick. I'd now like to welcome the President of the Royal New Zealand Return and Services Association, Lieutenant General Don McIver, CMG, OBE, to present the Anzac Day medal to the player whose conduct and play during the game best exemplified the Anzac spirit, that of skill, courage in adversity, self-sacrifice, teamwork and fair play. And the winner of the Anzac Day medal is Dan Hanbury.
First, I'd just like to thank St Kilda. We respect the way you guys go about it. You've been a super side for a number of years. It was a tough battle tonight. Good luck for the rest of the year. To our guys, we need to keep going. Disappointing last week. Good to get on the winners board again tonight. To our fans, thanks for coming out tonight, all the fans for that matter. Super spectacle, and let's keep going for the rest of the year.
Well done, Dan. I'd now like to invite Kieran Jack, co-captain of the Sydney Swans, and John Longmire, their coach, to receive the Anzac Day trophy from the Prime Minister of New Zealand, John Key. This is a perpetual trophy provided by the RSA in dedication to the memory of those who served in times of war.